What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 1031 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. As it seems like it always happens in the last week and a half since I've been back, the second we're about to go live, my cough starts to come back. But I hope that you are all having a fantastic Monday today. I am here with my guest co-host for the day. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. My name is Olivia Tate, and I am the community manager here at Timcast.
It's a very difficult job, I imagine.
It could be a lot. You know, I'm getting used to it. I'm handling it. I'm trying to just like get my feet wet. You know.
I can't imagine like managing any community ever.
I mean, don't always make it easy, but we got someone else hanging out with us today.
What's going on?
How's it going, buddy?
What's up?
Just a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
I sent you a message earlier. I'm like, you gonna be here today? And you're like,
yeah, I'm on this new wave where I just don't say anything to anyone.
Just show up.
It's called moving in silence, and then I just suddenly emerge. No, it's actually incredibly disrespectful to you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Well, no, it's you're promoting a life as an international man of mystery.
Yeah, it's called being like a nonchalant dreadhead. So
Yeah, there you
it's the
go.
new arc.
Yeah, nonchalantness.
Yeah.
We did a video a while back that about like things that Gen Z men like that millennial men don't like, and one of them was nonchalance. They
That's
said
true.
millennial men they want you to be chalant.
Yeah, there's a fine line between stoicism and nonchalantness, and I think Zoomers come down hard on the nonchalantness to the point where everything is irony poison and it's very uncool to take anything seriously. I think it's something that really plagues Zoomers.
Yeah, I think that's why like the movies and TV shows that I like are the ones that dare to take things maybe not even seriously, but be a little bit more earnest every once in a while, because there's no earnestness in the rest of the culture.
Yeah, I think we talked about on this show where like Timothée Chalamet was met with ridicule for saying he wants to be one of the greats, and it's like, what's wrong with wanting to be one of the greats? I mean, even like pro athletes aren't allowed to say that anymore. They get laughed out of the room.
Yeah, you can't want to be one of the best anymore.
And that's somewhere that's like clear hierarchy. You know, you are the best, actually, objectively speaking.
Yeah.
But
guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. Before we get started, as always, hit the like button, excuse me, on this video, please, this live stream, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you've not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Share the episode and the segments out with your friends, your family, your loved ones, everybody in your life that you both love and hate. I'm sure there's somebody you don't like that you could share this content with and then argue about it in the comments section. That's fantastic for me. That's fantastic for us. You go and you just argue about it down in the comment section. You increase our engagement. We love that here, so you should go ahead and do that. And as always, share it out with everybody. What are we getting into today? We have a lot of stuff to talk about. Number one, of course, being that the first week of Coachella has now come and gone, and the big topics on the main stage, it seems, were gender war issues between the likes of Sabrina Carpenter, who got into her own woke kerfuffle over the weekend, which we will talk about, and then it connects to Justin Bieber, who had his first live show in a very long time, and it was a very controversial choice to basically go up there and be every girl's new boyfriend who says, I want to show you a YouTube video. And then he went and he showed everybody a YouTube video and went and did his entire concert by singing along with his own music and looking at stuff on YouTube. And it has ignited a discussion with people about whether he gets a pass because he's a straight white mediocre male, or is it because that he has put in decades worth of work and therefore he has a right to put on a different show than the likes of a Sabrina Carpenter? Whatever it may be, we will get into that discussion. We are also going to talk a little bit about Britney Spears. She is in rehab, ladies and gentlemen. She has been to rehab multiple times over the years, but she has always checked herself out very quickly when this has happened. But we're going to get into it because it may connect to the fact that she's got court cases pending. We're also going to talk about young actor Walker Scoble, who is on the Disney Percy Jackson show, who had to put out a message on Instagram that informs everybody that he's not going to prom because girls that this kid knows, he's 17 years old, are getting death threats from fans because people on the internet are parasocial and insane. That's exactly what it is. It's insanity. We've got that. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff to get into. I do want to talk a little bit about Paramount getting this letter from 1,000 different actors saying that they oppose the Paramount merger, which, of course, is just virtue signaling. If they actually cared about consolidation, they would have worked harder to make better movies over the last couple of years to make consolidation less needed as these companies fail more and more. So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. Are you ready to go?
I am so ready.
You ready to go?
He's born ready.
He's born ready. All right. Do you want to give everybody what's? Oh, actually, you know what? Before we get started, actually, I do want to point out I did put up a poll today. I said, yeah, you know, you can only keep one, or you're stuck with one. Who would you rather keep, Justin Bieber or Sabrina Carpenter? As of right now, Justin Bieber is in the lead. Bieber fever is going wild here at PCC.
That shouldn't even be a debate. I mean, Justin Bieber, it's been well documented that is a sort of egregious example of white excellence.
Exactly. There
I
you
mean,
go.
peeing in the mop bucket was like a baller moment. I mean, all this, like, where he's just constantly showing up drunk at every like concert that he's required to perform at.
There you go.
We got that.
Really beautiful thing. Never wearing a shirt. I mean,
yeah,
hello.
he just he's like, look, if women can perform in their underwear in these crazy, he's like, then I can do it too.
And he's constantly like clearly demonstrating like trauma because he's been like molested so many times.
See, we've pushed back on that because he has denied that. And
He's denied that, but
that's one of those things where it's like, so we had a discussion recently, and we'll get into all this once we get into the show, that he is one of those perfect cases where, especially on X, people have this obsession with trauma, with childhood trauma, where they just label it to these kids who were in Hollywood when they were young, despite the fact that they may or may not have confirmed whether that happened to them. Mm-hmm. And it's become kind of like this, it's not a virtue signal, but it kind of is in a way, where like any topic comes up about Justin Bieber, Hollywood, and they're like, oh, well, you know, all the kids were this or all the kids were that. And it kind of, that lack of consistency and specificity makes it a problem because it puts something there. First of all, it doesn't take his actions into account. If he has acted poorly in the past and you give him the blanket pass because he was, even though he hasn't said that, it's not really helping him grow if he's just acting out to act out, as opposed to the leeway you might have given someone if they've acted out because something horrific happened to them. It's not to say that it didn't, but just to say that he has never confirmed such a thing.
If he managed to escape a Diddy party without being molested, then that just adds to the case of why he's so great. Sabrina Carpenter would have folded instantly.
All right. With that being said, do you want to tell everybody about the case of Sabrina Carpenter, or as what I referred to as, you can never be woke enough?
Yeah, so Sabrina Carpenter headlined Coachella on Friday, and during her performance, she responded to what she was calling a weird cheer or a weird sound that to her sounded like a yodel. What it ended up being was something called a zagruda, which in Arab cultures is an ululation or like a throat sound that you make to celebrate or honor somebody. It's common at weddings in places like Egypt. But we're going to quickly play that clip for you guys so you can hear what we're talking about.
Here, let's listen to it here.
Is that what you're doing? I don't like it. That's your culture, is yodeling? Is this Burning Man? What's going on? This is weird.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
It's based.
She did nothing wrong.
Yeah, that was based.
So she has gotten quite a bit of feedback since this video has come out online. And when I say quite a bit, I mean most of her fan base.
Here's her, do you want to do her apology first, I guess, since that's
she apologized?
That's what sucks here. So she was being called a racist, and she is being called MAGA, which is hilarious to me, but okay. So she said, "My apologies. I didn't see this person with my eyes and couldn't hear clearly. My reaction was pure confusion, sarcasm, and not ill-intended. Could have handled it better. Now I know what a zagruda is. I welcome all yodels, cheers and yodels from here on out." And let me just say, there's no reason to apologize. We talked about this 2 weeks ago with Phil. Never apologize.
There's also no reason to be yodeling at a Sabrina Carpenter concert, but
or whatever this thing is.
That's very based, where it's just like any sort of like any sort of like third world behavior, and she's just disgusted by it. Like,
her
what
face
are you
is
doing?
so funny.
Can you be normal, please?
Here's the problem: she did not think it was anything like that. She thought it was yodeling. Here's the thing: I don't think that she would have apologized if the person was doing a celebratory yodel and it was from a white person. There is no reason to apologize to white people in her eyes, because her entire MO is to woke too close to the sun.
That's even more based if she thinks it was just like them spontaneously yodeling. Like if she saw like Muslims on the ground praying, she'd be like, "Why are you doing Pilates?" Like,
yeah,
what are you
like
doing?
on the mats, and she's like, "What are you doing?" No, she probably thought like there's a phrase that's like, "It's my culture. Don't appropriate my culture," and she probably thought it was a joke when they were like, "It's my culture," and she's like, "Your culture's yodeling, like, okay, like,
Yeah,
probably thought it was a
weird.
joke. Like,
ours is clapping. We usually just clap to show her, say, woohoo!
also, she was performing in America.
Oh, was
so
she?
There was at Coachella in California.
Oh, my God.
It's actually kind of crazy that she could hear the lady too. Or who
She was loud. You could hear
like
her in the video.
I'm saying that's crazy. Like me, I'd be like, what? And then I'd go back and forth.
Well, you're
and it
half
kills
deaf, so it
and she
doesn't
was
count.
she was playing piano. So what the person did, there was a whole bunch of discussions being had about how appropriate this was.
Yeah.
On one hand, I don't think making noises is inappropriate. On the other hand, I do think it's inappropriate to then engage with a discussion back and forth. But Sabrina actually invited it by engaging with the person.
She does that though. She'll talk to like people that she can hear in the crowd. She'll be like, "What?" Like someone was like, once yelled her name. She's like, "What?" Because it was so loud. She was like, "What?" Like, you scared me, right? So it was something that was loud enough that grabbed her attention, and she's done that before. And the outrage, it's such like a faux outrage to me for these people to be like, it's clearly racist. And they're like, she responded saying, "Oh, it's your culture." Well, she couldn't see the person. Those lights are right in her face. I understand the argument here is that it's fine for her to be canceled because of her belief system that basically warrants this behavior. But I still don't think she should apologize. That's stupid. Don't do that. As someone who likes Sabrina Carpenter's music, I don't like
Yeah, Espresso
her.
is a banger.
It's a banger. It's a bop, honestly.
So good.
There's some like taste banger. And she shouldn't be giving into this. Now, I don't love, like, there's a reason I wouldn't go to her concerts. I don't like how she portrays herself necessarily. I still like her music. It's, but for her to go and apologize again, I don't know if she would have done it if this was a white person.
Yeah.
But,
That's the point. She said she couldn't see the person.
right. And
So she had no idea
had no
what
idea.
culture it represented. I guarantee you her reaction would have been different if she could have seen
Should we
offhand.
go next week and on Friday and yodel?
She's the weirdest case because she simultaneously like brands herself as someone that hates men, and she's like, I am the sort of voice of disaffected women that have had this problem with men for so long. But also her entire like stage act is like doing a horror minstrel show, where, like,
Right.
she's
And
literally,
loving men.
Yeah, so it's like I'm gonna stick it to men by like performing oral sex on stage.
I'm gonna mimic sleeping with them because I hate them so much.
Yeah, it's just like
okay.
the weirdest
Well,
synthesis.
that was literally the we did a topic last week where who was it? Oh, it was Nikki Glaser was on with Alex Cooper and said that she said that her being okay with her boyfriend of 10 years cheating on her was because it was a feminist act. And she twisted herself into knots, finding a way to explain how having a weird cuck fetish was a feminist thing, like because it was about seeking women's approval. She will let her boyfriend sleep with men, with other women because she wants to know that her boyfriend has the approval of other women, which of course we know is stupid and BS. But it was a weird form of trying to turn it into a feminist choice, just like Sabrina Carpenter turns her love of men on stage into a hatred of men by twisting it into some weird form of feminism.
That's what ChatGPT will do to like women. Is if it's like, hey, I just cheated on my boyfriend. I'll be like, what you're feeling is not guilt. That's the pain from the shackles finally being removed.
Yeah. They'll be like, you're
what
oppressed.
are we doing?
You're so oppressed, babe. Like, how dare you be so oppressed that you
like, hey,
felt the need to do this? He clearly doesn't love you enough if you felt the need to find someone. That's what it says, right?
I'll give you the everyman perspective, I guess. And I mentioned this to you the other day, which is that pop music specifically, it caters to the farthest left, most ideologically poisoned people there possibly is. Stan culture is 100% LGBTQ focused, 100% anti-straight white male, unless the straight white male is an ally. And when you've courted that audience relentlessly for years, you have to understand that you are always one bad choice away from finding yourself on the opposite end of the people that claim to love you no matter what. Theoretically, also, I don't know how many people were watching live when she did this, but plenty of people laughed. I guess that
heard
makes
laughing in the crowd.
That makes all of those people bad as well. But guess what? They're not, and it doesn't matter because this is the audience she courts.
Do you have the post from Caleb Hammer?
I have all three of them.
Yeah, because he actually I love Caleb Hammer. Okay, he's hilarious. But he had some really good posts if you want to read that one from
Says,
him.
as a girl's girl, I legitimately enjoy Sabrina Carpenter's music, but not gonna lie, she fully deserved this backlash. She has spent the past few years fueling the toxic online gender wars, which made her curate the most bottom-of-the-barrel, horrendous people to her audience. And those are the exact kind of people who will eat you alive at the moment you even slightly step out of line or make a joke or disagree with them on 0.1% of the issues. Actions meet consequences.
I think she's naive. I genuinely believe Sabrina's too naive to actually think that hard about it. I don't mean that in a mean way. It's just I don't think that she thought about it, how people can look at it and be like, she's courting this audience. I don't think she really thought twice about that.
He also said, never apologized, performative outrage. They don't actually care. They are slacktivists and nothing more.
Correct.
And then one more. Oh, yes. Not getting enormously outraged at Sabrina for making a face at a weird noise is incel. This is what somebody said to him. Looks like they either blocked or removed the post. Bro, my audience is 55% women and 45% men. The political divide is almost even between left and right. You're just anti-normal, but your online circle has convinced you otherwise.
Yeah, he's right. That's the thing about Caleb. He usually is pretty spot on with things. I'm a Caleb Hammer apologist. I'll he has a take. I'll defend it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, somebody had to usurp Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, I think he's an interesting case where his political sort of movement has just been purely determined by the people he literally talks to for a living. Yeah. Like, I think he's temperamentally probably just like a generic liberal, but then he just has to speak to the most insane people.
Well, he's from Michigan, so he's probably like I'm kind of a rarer case in Michigan, whereas he's from Michigan and he interviewed Gretchen Whitmer at one point, like did a financial audit with her for the state. And I was like, okay, you could say it's just a good idea to bring people on and talk about like budgets and stuff, but that was something I was like, okay,
he's
Caleb.
Interesting. I think he's like, I don't know, this is sidetracking, but he's charted forward like the most obvious play for the Democrats to sort of accumulate like some political victories is just.
But they don't like accountability, and so they're not going to like him inherently because he holds people accountable, like he is here, right? He is holding Sabrina trying to hold Sabrina accountable. I always like the worst part of this for me is the apology, is that Sabrina apologized, because you can say what you want about her making people mad if she deserves it or not, but like apologizing, they already canceled you. They don't care.
This is what I mean. This is why I don't think that she is naive, because she didn't apologize to the Catholic Church when she filmed a music video in there that was then deemed. So there was this from Steven Crowder says, so you'll apologize for this, but still won't apologize for filming a murder fantasy kill men music video at a real Catholic church. S-tier virtue signaling. It's not just virtue signaling. It is a signal of what her beliefs are. And I don't believe that she is a little baby who's just fresh to the industry.
I'm not saying
again,
she's completely
one of the things they keep talking about, at least what we'll get into during the Justin Bieber segment, is like she's not new to this industry. She's been around for 7 years. She's 27 years old. Her frontal lobe is fully developed.
She's been around longer than that.
Okay, you're making my point, which is that she's not naive to what this means. She knows exactly who she needs to apologize to and who she doesn't, because there is one audience that will that she wants to continue to support her. And I'll give you a hint. It's not the people going to the Catholic Church.
Well, yeah, and that is part of it, right? So she has to cater to an audience, just like a politician might have to cater to an audience and apologize for something to the right but not to the left because they want the right to vote for them, not the left. It's the same thing here. It's just that her audience tends to be liberal, pro-feminist women. And I separate art from artist. I don't like what she did to the Catholic Church. No, I'm Christian. I'm not Catholic, but I don't appreciate what she did to the Catholic Church. I don't appreciate how she behaves with men. So I don't. We have a 20 here in a second, but I don't like how she portrays men. We have one here from
Cesaro JPN.
Okay, he said all elation at a festival usually has explosions after that. Too soon?
No, it's probably true.
Tate's like, I won't disavow.
It's also like the comeback of "It's My Culture" is basically the modern id-pull version of like, you can't insult me, my dad died.
There's probably also like 2 Arab people doing that, and then a bunch of white people.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was in America, man.
In conjunction with them yodeling.
I get why she apologized. I'm sure her PR team was like, get online right now and write something sincere. Like, I'm sure they were
It is
pissed.
true that when people say never apologize, that only works for the right. Okay, so
Yeah.
the left benefits from apologies, even if it doesn't universally work. The right is kind of dismissed offhand because they're not actually engaging with you in good faith. So there's no point in apologizing for a completely normal viewpoint that just happens to not fall into whatever the traditional, whatever is socially acceptable.
Well, yeah.
So the right benefits from not apologizing, the left does not.
It's also like in her case, it's not really up to her whether she wants to apologize or not, because she doesn't really have an organic fan base. I mean, I'm not denying that I like some of her songs, but
Well, what do
the
you
entirety
mean
of her,
by organic?
well, the entirety of her career is dependent on like syndication, whether it's like through streaming or through like marketing
artists.
campaigns,
but that's
other
true
artists.
of like the vast majority of them. That would have even
know.
been true for Justin Bieber.
That's what I'm saying. So guys, people that are in this position, they don't really have a choice. Like,
But at a certain point, at a certain point, she will be able, like, if she wanted to, she could go independent, do all her own stuff. They don't want to do that because it's a crap ton of work and it costs a crap ton of money to do. But she has built a fan base now. It's just like you said, whether it matters that it was organic or not, that matters on YouTube. I don't know if that matters when it comes to the Coachella artists.
yeah, I mean, these guys know to fall in line. I mean, like any misstep, like Matt Healy comes to mind. It's
Yeah,
your career just gets.
Yeah.
It's like there's mechanisms in place that as soon as you become like not useful as like because she's not she is a person obviously as an individual, but like Sabrina Carpenter, the name,
The brand,
is a product. So it's
Yeah.
like we're not really, no one's really concerned with what her politics are. It's just as long as she's adhering to like orthodoxy.
Look,
that's
I
what
know.
matters.
I know she's probably as lefty as they come. Same with a lot of the pop artists that I've listened to over the years. I don't really care. I've been very good about separating the art and the artist. It's something I used to struggle with quite a bit. Now I can do it because honestly, her song being good has nothing to do with her saying,
beyond that,
like, I don't know.
her being a commercially successful singer trumps her politics. So her politics are secondary to her. It's
And
whatever.
I don't care about them.
If
I
the
really
incentive
don't.
structure changed and all of a sudden it was in vogue to like, if for whatever reason it was in vogue to hold like heterodox opinions or like right-wing opinions, she would just follow suit. Like these people aren't. I wouldn't put too much stake.
She'd be like, I love men so much. I don't know what you're talking about. I respect men so much.
She's
It's
unlocked a bit of the
also-
safe, edgy attack vectors. That's really it.
It's not an intellectual failing or a moral failing to not care, though. In this case, the idea is simply like, I've only got so much like time in the day, and she courted this audience herself. She can deal with the consequences of the decision she has made. There is an argument to be made that you should separate art from artist, but that goes as far as like what you're willing to listen to, despite the fact that you know what their politics are. That does not mean that you have to go out of your way to stick your neck out to be some type of, I guess, middle ground for her in this.
Well, I'm not going to go
case-
buy merch. I'm not going to go to her shows. I'm not going to, I'll listen to her music passively. And one, it's because that's expensive. I'm not about to go spend a bunch of money. Paying $300, $400 to see anybody in concert is ridiculous. I don't think I like anybody, not even Taylor Swift, and everyone knows how I feel about her.
And I think there's a difference between people that are like sort of implicitly political and people that are overtly political. Or any artist that's like implicitly political because it's just, again, they're just participating
By
in the
virtue of
mechanism.
her industry, she's expected to be a certain way.
She just signed up to be commercially successful pop star, and then this is what comes in line with it. There's like you replace her, it'd be the next blonde
She is
Disney
talented,
star.
though. She is talented,
So it's just
objectively.
like, but it's like a fairly interchangeable role where you have some people like Tyler Childers, whose art is directly linked to his politics now, and he's made that clear. And then the art form in and of itself already kind of has, he makes country music, so obviously it's going to have like a political
There's
resonance
already
to
a
it.
resonance there, yeah.
So like, in his instance where that's crosses from implicitly political to like overtly political, where then it's like now as the consumer, the impetus is on you to be like, am I going to support this or I'm not going to support this? Sabrina Carpenter, you don't really have much of a choice. It's just the most popular music out there.
I don't know. I mean, I can't be that mad about what she did. Also, I think the memes are hilarious now that are going around.
That's
with
going to
her
be a
face.
meme vector forever.
Oh, it's so funny. It is so funny.
I guess like what I'm trying to say is like her music could be AI generated for all I'm concerned. Like I don't view Sabrina Carpenter, the brand, as like a real individual that I'm interacting with.
And I
when
think
I'm
that's why
supporting her.
people,
It's like, it's an apparatus.
She's not changing anyone's mind here on the right that already don't like her. I've already watched the chat. I know they're like, oh, of course Olivia likes Sabrina Carpenter. Of course, her horrible taste in music. To each their own. But it's not going to change anyone's mind who doesn't already like her. Like, no one's going, oh, she did this thing and was called a racist. She's so base. Now, no one's doing that. No one. Because she apologized and because it's just, no one cares.
I think the right's like slowly also learning not to seek validation from the left for like
Oh,
just
yeah.
like the steel
They
man their
really
ideas.
need to-
They still do it sometimes. Like they
I
did
always
it
like
with
the cut of their jib.
yeah, they did it with the NBA player Jaden Ivey, where it was like once you actually like, and I'm gonna catch some flack for this, but like hear me out. I would be the ultimate person to support because I agree with everything he said. Like that was reported, but when you would like watch his videos that he was making, it was clear that he was kind of like a crazy person.
Yeah,
to a degree.
entirely
So
fair.
it's like conservatives still do have the propensity to be like, oh, someone that's outside of our group is like saying what we're saying. That must mean that we should like throw
Support
all of our
them
weight behind them.
100%, yeah.
And it's just like I think people maybe after the Kanye thing they kind of learn like okay
Yeah.
you know it's like there's a little more to it when I'll put it this way, when someone is participating in something where every incentive structure would bend towards them being left wing and they buck that, the odds are that they're probably kind of crazy. That's
Yeah.
just the reality of the situation.
That's
'Cause you
true.
have to be kind of crazy to like
The ones
step
that
out
aren't,
of that.
the ones that aren't are the ones that simply stay quiet.
Or yeah, they stay quiet or they never participated in the first place.
Correct.
So it's like they stayed independent. You'll often see from artists that actually have interesting things to say. You'll dig in and they're either independent or they're with like a boutique label of some
Yeah.
sort, and so that's typically how it works.
Well, Sabrina's not the only Coachella performance that's been going viral this weekend.
That is absolutely true. Let's talk about Justin Bieber. So Justin Bieber very recently sold his entire music catalog for $200 million. He then basically had to start over with Swag 1 and 2. He fell out with Scooter Braun and Usher and basically has started his career in a lot of ways over, despite the fact that he has been famous since he was very, very, very young. Oddly enough, getting his start putting covers up on YouTube. And what he did at Coachella has been unbelievably polarizing to a lot of people. He basically is now the highest paid Coachella artist of all time. He got paid $10 million to basically be a dude who says, hey, can I show you a YouTube video? And then he went up on stage. He played his own YouTube, his own YouTube versions of his songs while singing along, playing old memes, and basically turning it into a karaoke session. And his video, the official Coachella Instagram channel, 118 million views. For like, in fact, I'm going to play it for you here so you guys can understand. I don't think we'll get copyright on this one, but this video here garnered him 118 million views. If you're looking for comparison, the Sabrina Carpenter, who obviously we had a whole conversation about, she did 8 separate outfit and set changes and had put in all of this work, about 2.4 million views. So this is what it was. About the majority of the art.
I'd be so pissed.
That was about. So
I'd be so mad.
So tell me why.
Okay, so I'm looking at these prices right now, just generally. So it's really hard to get Coachella tickets on the website, but the official prices range for the first weekend, which this was, anywhere from $550 to $650.
Here's a picture, by the way, if you're looking. It's literally him.
That is insane.
With Katy Perry says, "Glad he has YouTube Premium."
That was funny.
That way we didn't have to see any ads.
That's hilarious. That's like the funniest thing she may have ever said. But the weekend one passes are a little bit more expensive, but they resale, which is where people usually have to buy these tickets for $4,000 to $5,000. That's before camping, and there's a camping fee of like $300, plus all the energy you use, plus everything for the camper, plus all the cost to just camp in general. And so frequently over one weekend, they're going to spend about $4,000, but they're saying VIP passes at resale after everything for both weekends can cost upwards of $10,000. Imagine spending, let's just call it $2,000, sake of argument here. Maybe you find a good reseller. You spend $2,000 to see Justin Bieber hit buttons on a computer and go like this.
See, the thing,
time.
he also, I listened to a bunch of the songs. So it actually,
listen to those on YouTube.
If I am being objective here, on some of the songs, particularly the ones that were slower in tone, it worked really, really well. And it was intimate, and it felt like you were watching him unpack his that.
But that's not what you're going for.
What do you mean?
You're going to watch him perform
This was
live,
the
not for
end-
him to sit there
This was
on a
the
computer.
end. No, the whole point of these performances, there is no one set path that you have to follow to make a performance. There's a reason why a cappella, acoustic, and various types of performances exist. In this case, the question is, did the audience leave this performance feeling like they got something out of it?
I saw a lot of responses of people that were there saying no.
And
No, they
okay,
did not.
by a lot, you mean, so the 118 million views tells me that
That's people on their phones, right? That's watching it on your phone after the fact, and it's a lot different watching it from your
I'm saying
phone than being there in
for one small clip, it indicates the size of his platform.
His platform is huge. Yes, I wouldn't argue that, but I would say that a lot of these people probably feel cheated. They went there to see Justin perform. A lot of them. There was a video of somebody, like, what is it called? Like they were like running the barricade or whatever, like running to the front of the barricade. And I don't know, if I'm there, I want to see performance. Like if I'm going to a concert, I'm paying that much for a concert, I want to see a performance, right? So even for the Sabrina Carpenter Backlash, she put on a performance. She's on stage, she's dancing, singing, doing all her choreography, doing everything. And yeah, maybe some people think, okay, it's more intimate in that setting. My point being, if I want to see Justin Bieber go and play on his laptop and play songs and sing to it, I can watch it on Instagram.
People pay more money in the real world for the VIP behind the scenes pass, where you get to spend more time with the artist backstage
different.
doing something like this.
Yes, but that's different because you're expecting that's what you're paying to go do when you're just there to see them perform on stage.
But these people are getting that for less than the price they would pay to go backstage and meet him. Okay, let me rephrase it, because maybe that isn't a fair comparison because they're doing it with the however many thousand other people. The other argument here is that this was at the end of a 12-hour day, and what they didn't need was, at least the argument was, what they didn't need was another high energy performance that's keeping people grappling to stay awake. Instead, what they wanted was, you are now you were in the come down phase of the
you
music
should want to
that
finish
day.
on like a bang that day. If you're gonna put Justin last, he should be finishing on high energy, doing something fun, getting people excited for the next time, like either the next time they go to Coachella or the next day or whatever it might be.
I think it ignores the fact that he is in a different place in his career than the likes of Sabrina Carpenter or a lot of these other artists.
I'm saying that most people go to Coachella to see one or two artists, and the rest of it's the experience of Coachella. So say that one artist you want to go see is Justin Bieber, and that's the performance you get. I would be so upset if I spent all that money just to not really get a full performance. Like, I would feel kind of cheated by that, because what he's doing there is what you would expect to pay extra on a VIP pass to kind of see how it happens, right? But that's not the performance. That's not the performance. That's preparing for it, sure. Like, that's what a lot of people would think. I'd feel like very cheated. Let's say back in the day when I went to One Direction concerts and they were all sitting down there just singing, sitting at their laptops, I would be super pissed. And we paid a lot of money for those tickets when I was younger.
This is an interesting question. So what do you think it means that after this performance, the price of resale tickets like doubled?
It's interesting.
Now, some people were framing that as other people wanted to get rid of their tickets because they didn't care.
It could have been.
But in that case, they would be selling them for cheaper, not more.
I don't know. It could have been having to do with Sabrina too. It may have not even, like, this was the same day.
Again, 2 million
I
views
don't
on
know.
her video.
I know, but there was a lot of those videos.
Let me rephrase that. I don't even think it's
Are
Sabrina
you saying
in the
that if you went?
conversation.
I'm sorry. Are you saying if you went to this concert, you would feel fulfilled in spending that much money to go to that concert to see that?
It would depend on the artist.
Okay, but let's just say it's
Given that
let's say it's your favorite artist. Would you feel fulfilled?
For him, I'm trying to frame it in the conversation of him. Okay, so if you're a lifelong Justin Bieber fan, he has not performed other than, what is it, the Grammys? I don't remember which one he did this year, like in his underwear. The Grammys, right?
Yeah.
You understand the struggles that he's gone through and all of the changes in his life, and he is not mentally prepared.
Then he shouldn't be booking this if he's not
there
mentally
is
prepared.
no one universal way to deliver a performance that resonates with an audience, and we can disagree on whether this performance resonated with audiences. I would make the argument that the spike in prices for resale tickets tells me that people are willing to pay more now.
Or do they want to
in the second
see
weekend.
other people in the second weekend?
They said that this came after his performance, that this happened.
That was the end of the day too, though.
I will say that so Sabrina Carpenter's there, but the other biggest artist was Binny. I don't know who that is.
Tim's performing?
Yes. And then
guys, Tim Pool.
22 million views on Coachella, and then Cat Cat's Eye with about
Okay,
16,
Cat's Eye kind of makes
16
sense.
million.
But
Teddy
look,
Swims.
Okay, Teddy Swims, yeah. And I'm going to admit something really embarrassing, and I didn't realize Teddy Swims and Ed Sheeran were different people for like 5 years. Anyway.
They look nothing alike.
Because he had like Teddy's photos or something was Ed Sheeran's name on Instagram for the longest time, and so
Do you
equated them.
believe? Then let's frame it around what the whole point of the articles that are being written were. Do you believe that this is a product of a mediocre white dude not being expected to give the same as a female vocalist?
No, I don't think it's gendered. I know that's what people are saying. I don't think it's gendered. I'm just saying that if it were me and I paid money to go see a concert and a performance, because that's really what you're paying for, I wouldn't be thrilled. I get maybe his fans are kind of okay with it, but for me, looking at this from my perspective, I would be super upset if I was like, it's the one thing I treat myself to every year. I go to Coachella and I get to see Justin Bieber, and I love Justin Bieber. I want to see a Justin Bieber performance. I don't want to see Justin Bieber on his laptop.
If music is an extension, if music as art is an extension of how you're feeling and who you are, then something like this could be described as more artistic.
It's actually more concerning for me than anything that he's doing this and being so low energy. That to me is actually a cry for help on his end than it is.
No, so the one of the way that somebody says he healed his childhood last night. I truly believe that this man needs to be protected. No,
if he wants to be protected, or if that's kind of the vibe he's going for.
I did see the head of YouTube commented and said
great
basically
for
like,
them.
he started on his, because they were like, was this sponsored by YouTube to do this? It was hilarious. They said that there was even buffering sometimes when he was like, imagine like I don't know if I hope he had like a wired internet connection, because we can't even run this podcast without like an Ethernet
if there's more
cable.
than like 20 people in a crowd, your internet just throttles.
Yeah, right. Like what?
You go to like a sports game, you're just not going to be on the internet for 2 hours.
I don't know. What's your take? Because we're both on kind of different sides here. So what do you think? Like, what is your opinion here?
Of Bieber, like
Of
choosing to do this type of
the show.
Yeah.
I think it's, because like my analysis, maybe it's a bit of a cop-out, but every time I've gone to a concert, you can't even really like pay attention to what's going on stage anyway. You're just like enjoying being around people, hearing live music. I think he probably should have locked in, though. I think he should have like locked in for the audience, because I think there's something kind of special when you're paying for a ticket for a live event, is you are seeing it before anyone else sees it.
That's true.
And so like, I think he's doing a bit of a disservice to the fans.
But he was also doing old music and new music, so he a majority
but he could have done
new
that
music,
while
but
doing a live performance, right? So putting on a show for people with old songs that people love, and some of his new songs.
Because there's a clip going around right now that it's going everywhere, is him and Usher performing like 15 years ago. And I'm like, that's kind of, if you're gonna play the old music, you also got to bring back the old persona.
And I guess you're not going to be able to
but
do
he
that.
can't do that because him and Usher are on the outside.
I know, but as far as like that energy, so if you're gonna bring back that era, that music, it's like I'm not expecting a 1-to-1.
He should have come out with the white and the purple hat. That's what he should have done.
You just like put a little, it just feels like he's phoning it in.
It felt like he was like, oh shit, I have a set to do tomorrow. That's what it felt lazy to me. That's the reason I have that opinion.
I think that this is one of the reasons I love this. I love discussing art so much, is that could be true, but his ability to hold the room and keep an audience captivated that's his job.
Michael Jackson
right?
would have done something similar.
He could do this, and it does not at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether we agree with it. I tend to think that what he did here was transformative, because it took work that he did when he was at another stage in his life and put another spin on it. Okay,
maybe, but that could be for a new album, putting new, like how Taylor Swift did it when she wanted to take back her record. She put a new spin on her old albums. He could have done that too. He's retained ownership. We have a 20.
He does not retain ownership.
Does he not? He could retain it then.
He sold his catalog.
He did, didn't he? Well, he could re-retain it. But we have a 20 here from Shane H. Wilder, and he says everyone wants a show to end on a high note. That would be like going to see Alice Cooper, and instead of ending with "School's Out" and all the balloons falling, he played "Swing Low, Sweet Cheerio" from Pretties for You on Spotify. Wow, that
I don't know if I
can.
consider the end of a 2 or 3 hour concert the same as the end of an 11 or 12 hour festival day.
But you're not okay. So when you go to these festivals, because I used to go to Warped Tour when I was growing up, some deep lore there. But you wouldn't go and see every single like artist or every stage. Like you would take breaks and then you'd come back. So for the they've been up that long, but they haven't been actively in the crowd that long. And I just think that it would have been better to at least put a little bit more effort into it. Even if it wasn't like a whole production, it just felt lazy to me.
Somebody suggested the idea that maybe they would have had it planned beforehand so that there was no buffering, and maybe they put the videos on an actual video file to do. But I think the
That's why it feels lazy.
But the thing is, we're only talking about the music. We're not talking about him going and looking at memes, him going and looking at things online. That was all part of it. They also connected it back to YouTube because that's where his career started.
But that's why it feels lazy. He's going and looking at memes. Like he can't.
His job is not to deliver a one type specific performance. That's the thing about great artists. They can do
looking
a
at
performance
memes is not art.
It is if people take it that way.
It
Absolutely
is so
it is.
not art. I'm going to be
If
objective
you
on
are,
this one.
if you are
I'm gonna be the
looking at
arbiter.
him on stage and he has held your attention and you're not looking away, you're not looking at your phone, and you're looking
Do you
at
know
whatever
everyone
he's
was
doing.
paying attention?
I'm giving you an objective.
Okay, because I'm saying I would probably, if I saw him doing that, I'd be like, I'd be on my phone, be like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I would not be locked into that performance because that's not exciting to me. I can also look at memes on my
I think
phone.
the majority of the people that were attending the concert were attending it because they're saying, I'm at a Justin Bieber concert. And like whatever he did on stage, they probably have been okay with. Because it's kind of like the same thing Michael Jackson used to do, where he would just stand for 20 minutes and everyone would go crazy. And then in addition to that, I mean, the Bieber clips are circulating pretty widely, and he's done some performances in the last few years.
get my point is like, so the fact that he is dominating the news cycle and he has turned this into a cultural discussion means that he did his job.
I just see two chats. One says Olivia's so right, and the next one said Olivia's so wrong.
So then let me find a way to try to bring it back to the middle. What about if he had done a standard performance for night one, and then next week on night two he did this performance?
I mean, I'd kind of be like, that sucks for the people that were like that weren't at both, but it would still at least look like he put effort into one of them, and then maybe he just had a rough week, whatever it might be. But to me, it looks like he literally woke up that morning and was like, "Oh no, I'm supposed to be at a performance today."
I'm gonna read some of the takes on it. Let me see if I got. I saw one that was really funny. It says $10 million performance fee, $1,700 MacBook, $239 Apple Care, $16 YouTube Premium, $10 Amazon Basic HDMI cable, $9,998,000 profit on all of it.
He's got a kid, you know. I hear kids are expensive, so.
So one person says, women demand productions. You demand that for them. Adele only sings because she has the voice for it, and it's the same with Justin. Singers have to sing. They're each artist's preferences and not a gender war. So is the idea here that because in his past, when he was younger, he sang and danced at the same time, that that's what he's supposed to do forever?
I mean, no, but
I'm
if
being
you're
a
going to put
little
on
bit unfair there because I understand what you're saying, but yeah.
it should be. And I see people in the chat saying, "Oh, his fans are happy, non-fans aren't." I'm not a not Justin Bieber fan. Like I don't actively listen to a lot of his new stuff, but if I went to a Justin Bieber concert, if it was like cheap enough, I'd probably go, right? Like just to do it.
So I'll read a couple more because I did grab some of the ones that weren't happy and some of the ones that weren't. This person says, let me see if I can put it up on the screen there, says the difference in performance quality is actually insane. You're telling me Justin Bieber is the highest paid artist at Coachella and this is what he delivers? Male artists really do get away with anything when it comes to performances and more. I've seen people dragging Addison Rae for not being ready as a pre-headliner. Yes, the actual headliner is doing the absolute bare minimum and getting a pass, and some of y'all are always ready to defend these men.
Okay, again, I'm not making it a gendered thing. I'm saying as a performer, some performers can I'm sure Taylor Swift could go on stage and just sit there and people would freak out, right? Because that's her audience. And I'd say that's lazy too. If Taylor Swift did this, I'd be like, that is the laziest performance I've ever seen.
So this one, I love this one from I love Autism Capital though. That's one of my favorite Instagram.
You feel natural there.
Says the Justin Bieber Coachella set was smart. Everyone was burned out after 12 hours of straight partying. He came on at 11 p.m. Instead of intense energy, he gave people a subdued, mellow set, watched YouTube, played hits, chilled and vibed. People enjoyed the intimate set much more than they would have yet another over-the-top set. Remember, they've been getting that all day. The other thing is
Put him at a different time then.
I also think that, well, no, because he's the headliner. He demands the final set, and as the artist, he gets to decide what that's going to look like and leave it up for interpretation. The other thing that kind of I think is interesting is like it avoids comparison of like if you're 15 and now you're 31 and you're doing the exact same thing on stage. He's not looking to do that. He's looking to transform how he's being seen.
Yeah, but that's it's just a little too much like not performing. Like there's still ways.
If you polled the audience, what they would have expected, because it's like if you went to a Kanye West show and then he did this, you'd be disappointed because you would be used to him putting on this like really exciting with all the lights.
I think Justin did for a while
and the set
too.
design and everything. Where it's like Bieber. I'd be curious if the audience kind of expected
Yeah.
a like big grandiose show, or if it would match closer to the clips we've all seen, where it's like again him drunk, like stooped over a lap,
And maybe
like
the
a
idea is just-
wailing, singing. It's like that's probably what people actually expected.
Maybe
Yeah.
the idea is just that it's too long of a day for any artist to do that slot, like to headline at 11 p.m. Maybe it's just too long of a day, and instead of making it that long of a day, you can still make it a longer day, but have him go on at 9 or 10, not 11 p.m. starting, because that's late. Like that's really, I'm a night owl, and that's late.
He also,
so.
I think maybe he's just kind of carefully crafting his public persona into kind of this sort of more toned down artist, because like, for example, a good example, like in electronic music, where you're used to, you know, big displays and like fist pumping and like they're jumping off their, you know, stand or whatever. Then you have an artist like Deadmau5 who's like, you know, institution, like kind of this institutional artist. Like everyone's like, they always say it's your DJ's favorite DJ or whatever, and he's like angry every single time he's there. Like he doesn't want to perform. He always looks like tired and everything, but he just packs it out, because at a certain point people just expect that, and then they kind of think it's funny, and then when he is fired up, then it's like an added bonus.
I guess. Yeah.
I think Bieber. I think from what I've seen of him for the last 2 years, is that sort of the persona he's crafted, is like, hey, you don't know what you're gonna get. He's kind of just
before we move on, here's some of the stuff that they were talking about after the fact. Highest paid artist in Coachella history at 10 million. Highest ticket demand ever after resale prices went crazy. Most liked post ever, meaning the one on the official channel, 8 million likes. Most viewed and most Googled performance ever. Most expensive tickets ever sold. Biggest crowd at Coachella Field in years, stretched all the way to the back. Longest headlining set, and maybe that's the point here.
Worse.
34 songs, and there was still that many people there.
I know, but like they're probably waiting for him to do something.
Not.
I would be.
I think no, you're a moron if you've waited longer than 12 songs and you're expecting it to finally
12 songs,
happen.
But then at that point, you just
by song 34, you're like,
that's
okay.
insane, dude. Like, I don't want to hear anybody crapping on Taylor Swift for long albums. When Justin Bieber went up there,
well, I thought people loved the fact that her shows. I mean, she's like
she did a full performance,
like a queen of endurance.
She did a full performance where every era that she came out in had its own theme, its own dresses. She would pick the songs and she would perform them, and it was like someone that you've been a fan of for so long.
Does she do that at festivals or just for her?
She doesn't do festivals.
That's
really.
what I'm saying.
No.
Like, so that's festivals.
But my point being, if you're gonna do that many songs, you gotta make it's gotta be something different. I don't know. Again, everyone's gonna have their own opinions, right? I think
his real loss here is that like a bunch of his old songs re-entered the charts after this, and he doesn't get to keep any of the money because he sold the rights to his.
Maybe that was where he really messed up, was doing that.
All right, let's move on. We've been around that one for a while. Let's move on. Let's talk about Britney Spears, which is a little bit more of a depressing topic. I think the last one was actually interesting. I think that discussing about whether or not Justin Bieber's Coachella performance was the right one or not is like the best possible outcome you can have for an artist who's struggled a bunch, and now they're finding their way back to the
I have a lot of respect for him. I do.
To the public spotlight.
Justin Bieber.
Britney Spears is in a completely different camp right now. So she got a DUI on March 4th. She was actually in the middle of what you might call a low-speed chase with cops at that point, and she has now checked herself into rehab, ladies and gentlemen. And I was curious. So she has been in rehab several times. We're about to get a crisis party too. It always happens
it just happened
at an inappropriate time. 2007, 2014, 2019. So, Britney Spears has checked herself into rehab for drugs and alcohol. It says she checked in a few days ago somewhere in the United States. Sources with direct knowledge told TMZ people close to the singer have been urging for her to check herself in, and she finally agreed to do so voluntarily. As one source put it, I'm going to put it up on screen here, she finally realized that she hit rock bottom. Again, like I said before, she got a DUI on March 4th. She's been trying to reconnect with her family. She's had issues with drugs, in particular Adderall and alcohol, for years. During many trips to Mexico, she made a point to replenish her Adderall supply. I actually find it crazy that somebody of her level of fame couldn't find a doctor to do that here in the United States.
Yeah, she probably could have, but...
Like, when you think of, like, Matthew Perry and the ketamine queen and everything that somebody of means can find, the fact that she would drive herself to Mexico to find Adderall is kind of insane.
I'm just not surprised.
Yeah, I know,
she's
right?
just so off I don't even know.
Well, everybody's seen the videos where they're like, "Look, she's just having fun, dancing with knives."
Having so much fun.
Mental breakdown, and they're like, "Wow, she looks liberated."
Yeah, she's. I'm so glad we freed her, you guys. So glad free Britney.
That
actually,
conservatorship was like the best thing that ever happened.
It says
literally.
One sources say part of the reason she's gone to rehab now is because of her pending DUI case. As one source says, she knows strategically that this will look good in front of the judge. She's taking it seriously.
Probably true.
That's a very good thing to do. Said her sons have been strongly supportive. I'm sure that they want to see their mom,
I'm sure, yeah.
find a way back to what who she used to be. So I guess then let's kind of I wanted to draw this back to the Justin Bieber story just a little bit, which is that you could see two people on similar paths that diverge in different directions, meaning that Justin Bieber is obviously at a very different place in his life. He's much younger than Britney Spears, but they are both parents. He is a new parent. She is a mom to grown children. Yep. And I got to thinking about it, which is like, I watch a lot of wrestling podcasts, and one of the people that gets talked about a lot is the legendary Ric Flair, who has this kind of observedly insane cameo. Do you guys know what cameo is, right?
Yeah.
Well, he does cameos for people, and like half the time he's drunk and kind of crazy, and you're like, this guy is 80 years old. You would think that at a certain point you need to settle down in some case, right? Which is like, yes, a lot of people end up having substance abuse issues that they're not able to kick, but for some people, sometimes all it requires is help, but also the passing of time, where you just kind of get through those crazy years in your life, and then you can settle down and hopefully work on mending the things that have been broken in you. I don't know if Britney Spears can do that.
I don't think so. Unfortunately, I really think kind of like Amanda Bynes, as much as I want them to succeed and to kind of go back to being, I don't even know if normal is the right word, but just not where they're at now. I don't know if that's possible, which is very sad that, the industry can basically eat them up, spit them out, and however they're left, that's how they're left. But I do think the conservatorship being revoked was probably the worst thing to happen to Britney Spears. And that might be a hot take. I think a lot of people might disagree with that. I do think by and large people should have their own autonomy. I would agree with that. But I think she was a threat to herself. She was a threat to her kids, whether it be just because of her mental illness or addiction, what have you. Dancing with knives is inherently unsafe. And yes, so is like just a lot of her behavior, still kind of dressing like she's still, 20 something in college. And I feel bad. I really do. So I'm glad she's, going to get help, but at the end of the day, I don't know if anything is actually going to help her. I think, unfortunately, she's kind of destined to this.
You don't think that there's any path forward?
I mean, there's, my religious side of me would say there's always a path forward with redemption. Yeah,
I did kind of put like one of my notes that I had as somebody who has been, through rehab, gotten clean and turned his life around, thankfully. Like, it does feel like age-wise, there's like there's a point of no return. And I don't mean that in the most literal sense, because obviously somebody can get clean at any age.
Correct.
But it does feel like there's a point where it starts to get less and less likely. Where it's like when you're in your 20s and into your 30s, you can make those changes. But once you get into your 40s and you've seen the inside of a rehab clinic multiple times, it's not to say that you can't get clean. It's to say that people are going to be increasingly more skeptical of it actually working out. And that's sad.
Well, it's like the first 1 or 2 times you come out of rehab, people are really excited to see you. And then after that, everyone's just kind of like, okay, you're back, you know, whatever. So the part of me, my Christian faith would tell me that no one's beyond redemption and fixing themselves. And I do think that in a lot of ways, I think, honestly, someone's got to take one for the team, bring it to church. Just be the person that walks in with Britney Spears. But I think...
Does that really even... I mean, okay, so...
I think having a basis of faith, having a basis of knowing that there is a higher power out there that you can rely on in good times and bad does a lot. There's plenty of people...
No, I meant like... I wonder what the rate is for people, because I agree, obviously, as somebody
I can use my church as an example. So my church,
yes, my church
has, yes, and I'm gonna shout it out because I can. My church from back home has a program called Life Challenge, where people that are either homeless or going through addiction or whatever, they go through this program, and it's through our church. So they go to church every Sunday. It's really cool because they'll sit in these rows, and you can watch as these guys graduate out of the program. They all move up a seat. So you get to watch all these people go through the program. Most of them have gotten baptized at our church now and have been, become normal members in society.
Yeah, your dad talked about.
Yeah, so like they use their faith as a way to really fill that void that they think they need drugs, alcohol, or whatever for, or reformed criminals have gone through that program. And I think it's a great program because it's, it takes a lot of people from Detroit that have really been down on their luck and turn their lives around, given their lives to Christ. I love to see it. It's always one of my favorite things is when you get to see them get baptized. There's just like no greater joy than watching that. And you see grown men crying when this happens, right? So I love that. And that's the one thing I will always say. If there's anything that can turn someone's life around, it will always be turning your life to Christ.
What is more? Because some would say that having kids would be enough to turn your life around.
Didn't work for Britney.
No. So yeah, there was some other article that says she's dedicated to working on her health. One source said there is something this is something she really wants to do for herself. This is her own decision. According to our source, Spears' whole family is supportive of this decision. The pop star has shared pics and videos of herself spending time with her two sons, Sean Preston and Jaden. This after her March 4th arrest, she was reconnecting with her kids. Everyone just wants Britney to be healthy and in a good place, and the fact that this is her decision just proves how dedicated she is to her own recovery and getting herself back on solid ground. As for the time she may spend in rehab, our source says she doesn't know yet. This isn't set for 30 days or 60 days. It will take as long as she needs, and luckily she is one of those people where she's of such means she can spend as much time as she needs to do there to get help. She's not setting a limit on herself. She just wants to feel better and get herself into a healthier space.
I mean, man, like the best I can do now is just like pray for her and hope that she finds whatever works for her. But I will always suggest.
There was one minor red flag, which is she posted a video of her dancing right before she went into rehab.
God. I mean, that was pre-rehab, right? So it's like
I'm saying it's right before. They're right before she checked in, she was doing a Bad Bunny
draft.
Yeah,
like a smoker taking.
It was really.
It is. One more TikTok.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. I pray that she finds peace and doesn't have to turn to vices or.
That's why
I think go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, this is to your point with the churches, because a lot of churches enable it, where it's the secret sauce with rehab and these sorts of things. It has to be forceful. There has to be outline what the there needs to be accountability, right? There has to be sort of expectations, these sorts of things, because you see this happen all the time, where churches end up making the homeless problems worse because they'll just give them food and then that's it. And it's when you give them food to them, they're just saying, oh, so I can still behave this way, yet my needs will be met. Yeah. So why do I need to change? Yeah. Where it's ultimately the goal of these churches is to scoop people from rock bottom, but they'll never actually be able to reach rock bottom if you're just kind of enabling their behavior.
Yeah.
But also isn't compassion I guess that's
I don't
where
think they're coming from a bad place.
It's where practicality, pragmatism and compassion kind of intersect. And
yeah, exactly. Because it's I'm not saying these churches are doing this for a bad reason. I just think ultimately they're possessed by the idea that the reason people behave poorly or the reason people sort of demonstrate antisocial behavior is because of a lack of needs being met, and that's just not true. People always say this is criminal justice reform. It's it's because these are poor communities, and it's that's a component. Yes, crime is more prevalent in low-income communities, but there's a variety of reasons for that. They're not killing people because they're poor.
Right.
If anything, when you really think about that statement, it's actually quite a bit more insulting than any other alternative explanation. So it's kind of the same thing. As these churches just ultimately have to realize there is a certain psychological issue afflicting these people these hyper addictive personalities, and it would be worthwhile for these churches to pursue these accountability programs rather than just cutting them a blank check.
So my opinion on this has kind of evolved, and I'm more sure of it now than I ever was before. So Britney Spears has said that she will never perform in the U.S. ever again, and I think that is a mistake. I think what she should do, given the fact that Justin Bieber just spent the weekend having an emotional internal catharsis by he sold his prior collection of music. Yeah. He has cut ties with the I'm assuming he would consider to be the toxic people in his life, meaning the Scooter Brauns and the Ushers. And he went on stage alone and basically worked out his own demons in 34 songs. What Britney Spears needs to do is first to get sober, get right in that way, and then work towards performing without the people that once made performing so awful for her. So
she could try
to
that,
get away from her dad and her sister, and to reinvent herself through performing again. So maybe you set a goal next year at Coachella. Britney Spears gives a performance that you won't like by sitting there with YouTube and going through her old songs and performing them.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of times, much like when people who are pro athletes retire and they fall into drugs and vice because they don't have something to work towards anymore. Yeah. They don't have the goal because they were some of the most driven people on the planet. They fill that gap that used to be there, which was achievement, with drugs, alcohol, and promiscuity. She should work towards live performance again. It will give her something to work towards and help keep her on a straight path.
I just don't think she can like get away with what Bieber did, because Bieber has built up all the cultural cachet. Plus,
and
like,
he's young.
What do you mean?
Because like, you got to remember, all the people that are at Coachella for the most part that were watching Justin Bieber had posters of him on their wall. So like, he has this sort of.
Katy Perry was there with Justin Trudeau. They're both Britney Spears age.
They're unk.
Yeah, it's just
They're
weird.
unk.
It's weird with like the way that. This is gonna sound weird, but you should have to trust me here. The way that like sex appeal works for male artists versus female artists is like completely different. Where for female artists there is sort of an expiration date on like how often can they sort of exploit their sexual appeal to like grow their audience. With male artists, that never really goes away. Where it's like, once, you know, there's this theory that men can fall in love over and over and over again, but like women can only really fall in love like once, and then it's like a little different after that. It's kind of the same thing with Justin Bieber. It's like the women already fell in love with him. It's gonna be really hard for women to fall out of love with Justin Bieber. Obviously, I'm not talking about a deep romantic like love. I'm just saying, as far as like they're bought in, it's really gonna be hard for them to buy out. Where with men and female artists, where they sort of try to sell their sex appeal, that fades really quickly, and that's why Britney Spears, her like core fan base is like mostly just like gay people and like women with mental illnesses. So it's like Bieber is a little bit different, where I mean people still like the Britney Spears songs, but Bieber, it's like all these women remember growing up like being in love with Justin Bieber, and they're huge fans of his, and they had the posters on the wall, and they thought he was like you know, attractive and these sorts of things.
Future husband,
future. And it's like, it's a weird kind of stan culture thing, but that's not going to go anywhere for like as long as those women are alive. They will always. It's the same thing with women previously always felt this way about Elvis. About
look, if One Direction came back, I'd be bought in.
One Direction,
I'd be bought in immediately.
Even Billy Joel. Like if you go to a Billy Joel concert, there's a lot of. I went to one. It's like a lot of older ladies.
You went to one?
Yeah. I love it. At the Garden too.
The what that does, I mean, look, I don't know if I believe like Madonna's still out there trying to perform with like a walker, like and stuff like that. But
and
I'm
her
not saying
audience
she needs to go that far, right? I'm saying that you can.
Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez is still doing it. So I mean that maybe that's the issue that people have here is like the men don't seem to need all of the dance moves. And like you can only be Benson Boone and do a stupid front flip for so long before you move on and you find a different core to who you are. But like you said before, men, like there is a certain, I guess, what you'd call sex appeal to men, but it's not as front and center as it is for the we. Where now when Jennifer Lopez goes and performs, you know what they post? Like it's like Clown World is like, should women this age be performing in outfits like this?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it immediately calls into question. And ironically, it makes them more disposable.
Yeah, well, and now you're seeing where, like, the music industry, by and large, can't actually develop a heartthrob again. Like, when there's no real male artist out there right now that are like a heartthrob.
One Direction was the last one.
Yeah, and I think there's a number of reasons why that's the case. But I think one is that a lot of the sort of the ways that men would like posture themselves, like young men would posture themselves to be a heartthrob. Now a lot of women are like doing that. So like Sabrina Carpenter is actually, I think, siphoning off some of that same energy that Justin Bieber siphoned off.
Yeah, she's for the girls and the gays. Right?
Yeah, because sexuality is like rapidly becoming warped, and it's like a moving field with young people. And so I think that's kind of what's going on. And you know, Justin Bieber, like his sex appeal when he was younger, even though he was younger, it was like a lot of it was built on like a bit of chauvinism, you know, and like a really weird, in like a young man's way, it was built on chauvinism.
With
and I think
teenage girls, yeah.
Like, and like that kind of, and now chauvinism, you know, I'm not trying to sound like, you know, like a manosphere guy, but chauvinism is by and large like unacceptable now among young men. So like, it's going to be pretty much impossible. Like the reason Benson Boone is not like a heartthrob, except for like a very young girls and they grow out of it really quickly, is because there's no chauvinism to him. Like there's nothing threatening about him. There's nothing that's like, wow, this
he
guy's
doesn't scare me with his like deep V cut.
Yeah,
There's just nothing about that that's like masculine.
Yeah, you gotta have a degree of like loose cannonness to you. This is why like Ryan Reynolds like is just never gonna be like this heartthrob for women.
Yeah,
it's just
that's
because
true.
he's inoffensive. There's nothing like abrasive about him. Like you gotta have a degree of like edge to you, and the industry just doesn't have any incentive structures that like reward that at all. Like chauvinism is actually stamped out quite early.
I still think that her best bet is to try and reinvent herself in music and find a way. Maybe try to find some happy medium between, I guess, the success of Jennifer Lopez still managing to do it in her 50s and what Madonna currently looks like, which is just terrifying, and find a way to reinvent yourself through music, which was what you did to go. I mean, she can do ballads. She has made songs that are on the slow side, and reinvent yourself and give yourself a purpose to work towards, lest you end up with another DUI and back in rehab. But I wish her all the best.
It's almost like you can't, though it's too late at a certain point, because like look at someone like Lana Del Rey, who's going to be commercially successful well into her probably 50s and 60s. She's already like 40. She early on never, at least from my interpretation, never, I mean, there was elements of it, but never built her brand on like sex appeal.
Yeah.
She built her brand on like, hey, I'm letting you in on like my diary, basically. And so those artists will have like a really easy time lasting, and then she still maintains a degree of that. Like she still is like an attractive woman or whatever. Where Britney Spears will never be able to like reinvent herself. It's too late. The ship already sailed, and you're associated with 2000s pop music for the rest of your life.
True.
Justin Bieber doesn't need to reinvent himself. Like he doesn't, because if anything, like chauvinism to a degree will like last well into your, if anything, it amplifies the older you get.
I do still think that he would have had, like, part of the issue is like if he goes up there and he does a bunch of dance numbers, you know what it is? It's like he moves fast, but not as fast as he used to. Is he out of breath? Like that's a different type of performance that takes months to prep for.
Like, well, like a lot of these artists are realizing that, like Timberlake doesn't do it anymore, but he's still finding a lot of success just by like maintaining that streak of like, there's just an element of unexpectedness and everything. There's a degree of masculinity, even if it's not like stereotypical like beer guns masculinity. It's like there is like a weird roundabout way of like, I don't want to get too gay actually. Like I could go all day on like the analysis of what makes Justin Bieber have sex appeal, but I'm a heterosexual. I have a girlfriend. But like
I can confirm.
But I've like
for the men in the chat,
I've put a lot of thought into this, and I think
it's
there's
what
something
shapes
there.
Aspects of our gender dynamics in this country.
Yeah.
Because pop music and how it's perceived by audiences when they're young is part of what helps people grow into the adults that they later become.
Yeah, I'm trying to like save the West. You think I want to go around like saying men, like evaluating men's attractiveness? No, I don't. I don't want to get up there and say Justin Bieber's
but he'll
hot.
do it.
I'm doing this for President Trump and for the United States of America.
Course.
All right. What would you guys like to
race.
see? Cringe or cute of the day? The cringe is particularly gross.
See, I've always maintained you lead with cute because cringe typically spawns a conversation. And so if you go with cute,
but the cringe, I don't think you can
There's
spawn
no
a conversation.
What the hell does this spawn?
I think it could. A couple elements.
I'm the watermelon snickerbar, wiener man, wiener man, wiener man. I'm the watermelon snickerbar, wiener man,
I
wiener
think there's a lot
man,
of cultural commentary.
wiener man. I'm the watermelon snickerbar.
Because this is the natural state of man.
Is this the right time to tell you guys my dad's watching the show today?
Oh, well, I think he could relate to this. It's like,
Can you relate, Dad?
Your dad needs to punish you for your algorithm.
Dad, can you relate? Everyone say hi to Mr. OCD in the chat.
well,
Give
because
him a
I think
hello.
this is like relatable, like to a man. It's like this is the natural sort of state of like, this is a man completely unchained, unrestricted by the binds.
I
of,
do
like
the comment that says
modernity.
AI could never. I mean,
No,
honestly,
literally, AI could not
AI
do-
could, but it wouldn't be as authentic.
Who's gonna
Yeah.
think about that?
And look
Who
what-
thought about the watermelon sticker by Wiener Man?
This one says, "Who do I even send this to?"
Well, this
Me.
and
Send
this
it to my husband.
and this is like threatening to the left in a lot of ways because like, okay, what defines what is the biggest threat? Like, look, just bear with me. What is the biggest threat to like managerial systems? Right? That's like the main affliction that we're facing in like the modern liberal world, like the post World War II consensus is we're living in these managerial systems that punish right-wing eccentricity, but will like
Yeah.
elevate like left-wing eccentricity. Well, this man is probably the biggest threat to a managerial system because it's unexpected. You don't know what's going to come next. Maybe he really is the watermelon Snicker bar wiener man, because this is like what is residing. This is what's residing in like the back of his mind at all times. And he says, you know what? Screw this managerial system, to use the word. I'm going to subvert. I'm going to go subvert expectations, these sorts of things. When you behave as like a transgender person, for example, that doesn't subvert expectations, that is just following like liberalism to its natural conclusion, which is a severing from any like God-given identity. Where I think this man growing up had an appreciation for watermelon, an appreciation for Snicker bar,
bars.
wiener man. What does that say? That resembles like a
He
penis.
likes a hot. No, it's hot dogs, Tate. It's okay.
Hot dogs. So
We
like the
got-
hot dog.
Tate insists he's not gay, and
the
then
hot
says some
dog-
really gay stuff.
Oh no,
right
just
after.
bear me out. As the hot dog has like a phallic resemblance to
It
it.
does,
Again, this is something that
indeed.
the left fears, is a man double downing on sort of what makes him masculine. I think calling yourself the wiener man, that strikes fear into the bones
It
of a
does.
leftist.
They should be scared of him. Honestly, I'm kind of scared of him.
we have a 20.
20 from Not That Jon Stewart. He said, "What in the absolute frick, OCD?" Look, and everyone's saying hi to my dad. So, everyone's saying hi to Mr. OCD in the chat. So, Dad, if you don't see the chat, they're saying hi to you.
One
But
comment says, apparently I have hit the end of Instagram. Time to turn around.
you know
and go to
what?
bed."
You know what's crazy?
What an interesting
this
use
was-
of free will.
I have to admit to you guys that this was 4 down in my algorithm. It was up there. It was not very far down for me. I sent Brett a different one, and then I scrolled a little bit and was like, just kidding.
Yes.
This is the one for Tate.
Yeah,
This is the
'cause
one for Tate.
Here
My
is
For You
cue of the day.
page is all Down syndrome. Like,
Oh,
it's all Down
okay,
syndrome. And again,
okay,
it goes
yeah.
back to my point about being threatening to managerial systems. My proof for this is if you look at like the Nordic countries, for example, like where it's like the natural conclusion of the managerial
Mm-hmm.
state is, again, when there's like elective abortion, they typically select for like Down syndrome. And I actually, like, this is a genuine point. I do think there's a reason for that, is because like Down syndrome does, although it is like, it leads to health complications, these sorts of things.
Yeah.
It does sort of cause introspection in people. Like, no one's really mean to them. Like, when you meet them, you're just kind of like enamored by like their like true like unrestrained nature and these sorts of things. So it's like obviously the main reason women are like choosing to abort their child when they find out it has Down syndrome is for like health reasons or whatever, which I think is still demonic, but also because there's like something about Down syndrome that challenges you when you see it.
that's
It's like, wow,
true.
this person is like truly unrestrained. They're being their like genuine
Genuine
self.
selves,
And
for sure.
typically like children with Down syndrome and men with Down syndrome is they become like very straight. Like they're really into women, like a
Yeah,
lot. And they like
heck
talk
yeah.
about it constantly. And it's like, because they're just completely removed
Real
from any
men.
like
Real men.
exterior pressure from like, again, like the system by and
I
large.
got you.
We
Look at
do
these
have
kitties. They're so
cue of the
cute.
day from Esri and Eddie in a rare 2-in-1 shot.
How sweet. Look at them. They're 2 peas in a pod.
That's
I
like
love that.
that's like a very big. What do you
Our
call-
cats would never.
chain.
Our
Yeah.
cats would
They
absolutely
would take those off
never.
instantly.
Oh, I meant like cuddling with each other.
Oh, no.
Our cats would
No.
absolutely never.
None
They'd
of the
rather
three.
no. They would rather throw themselves off a building than do that. So
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can submit your cue of the days on X to me at Brett Dasovic on X. Use the hashtag PCCPets. I will find it there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about Walker Scoble. If you don't know who that is, I don't blame you. You're probably not watching the Disney Plus Percy Jackson show. Walker Scoble plays Percy Jackson on the show, and he had to put out a post on Instagram saying that he would not be going to his high school prom. Do you want to know why? Well, I'm going to tell you why. He is not going because apparently he has a fandom around his TV show that is so unbelievably toxic that death threats are being sent to every woman that he knows.
yeah, he responded to it in a post. But I want to give you guys. Do you
Well,
want to read his post or what
I'm
they
gonna
were
read.
saying?
Well, so it says Percy Jackson and the Olympian star Walker Scoble wrote on Instagram story on Sunday that he will be skipping his high school prom because many of his prospective dates have received death threats from obsessive fans. Put it up here right now so that people can see what we're talking about. He put it in the story. He says, just to let everyone know, I will not be attending prom. Please stop sending death threats to every teenage girl who could remotely be associated with me based on their proximity to where I live. It's not fair to them or their families. Maybe also just stop sending death threats in general. That's just not cool. Kinda weird, I have to say this.
Yeah, so there were some posts going around where there was a girl posting online. So one of them is a picture. Now, thankfully, whoever posted this has blacked out said house, but she said, that's Walker Scoble house. I'm going to read this how it's typed because
Yes.
I feel like that really delivers it. And I have more of him leaving the house. Actually, I have the address. Do you guys know how? Thanks to his fake friend. Went on to say, Walker Scoble, some people are saying that you have a secret GF that you are going to show on premiere this December. Don't you dare do that, because you are going to regret is going to happen with her. The same thing that happened with Charlie Kirk. We are going to
They actually said this.
Yes, we are going to leak the pictures that you don't want. You know what I'm talking about, Walker Scoble, the pictures you send to girls. Let's see if the girl is going to be alive until then, because there's going to be a lot of fans outside the premiere waiting for Walker. And then there's another one where, you know, someone's like, girl, what is happening? And she said, she put all our accounts on private because fans are calling her out. We're gonna, oh, okay, no, they are, this is about the girl that they're allegedly stalking here, saying all the girls at Walker Scobles follows on Instagram, even in Erie. We're gonna watch him on the prom day that is gonna be on day 2 of May. So 2nd of May. Is this like someone that knows English? Because this doesn't feel like,
Apparently
this feels
not.
like
You
English
can't,
second
like, you
language.
can't get an English
Day
person
2
when you
of
call
May. What
any
does that even
company
mean?
anymore. Yeah.
May 2nd. Okay, so we're gonna have guns to any girl that his prom date. So May 2, watch Instagram, because the fans that live in Erie are going to leak the pictures of Walker on the prom day. And he already knows that because today he saw us through his window.
That and then don't even read the last part
No.
there. Like, this is the absolute insanity that kind of pervades. Like, imagine being the kids who got hired to be in the new Harry Potter series.
This is horrifying.
Like,
when you read this, my jaw was on the floor.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Imagine, because, you know, as big as Percy Jackson is, it's not Harry Potter. Imagine being the kids playing Ron, Hermione, and Harry in the new Harry Potter series, and you know that this is the level of fandom that will come out of it. It's absolutely terrifying.
They're saying, the chat's saying, like, girls don't really talk like this. You've never met a, like, super, like, basically think, like, parasocially in love with this person, girl, like, teen girl before, because I'm sure there were people that talked like this about One Direction and 5 Seconds of Summer back in the day.
Really?
And Justin Bieber. Oh yeah. Not nearly to the extent of being like, there's his house, but like enough to being like, he had a few girlfriends. They hated Selena Gomez for the longest time because she was dating him. Obviously they don't like Hailey Bieber, a lot of them. And it absolutely is like a deranged 17, 16-year-old who's like, thinks that she's destined to be with this kid. Would say he's 17, by the way,
Yeah.
for full disclosure here. Like, he's 17.
Yeah, there was stuff about leaking images of him. That's
Yes,
like,
and
that's insane.
that's child photo distribution, right? And so even if the person distributing is of that age, that does not really matter. What matters is also does that actually exist? I don't know. I don't know this kid. I don't know if he's like super wholesome or if he does kind of have this, like, I don't know anything about this kid. First time I've heard of him. And man, that is absolutely insane. And I feel bad for him, because so many kids, you know, want to go to senior prom, and just like, I'm sure this kid too wants to be normal. He's already, you know, an actor, and so some semblance of normality.
Phil, wait, no, somebody said normality the other day on
I almost said normalcy. I corrected myself for you.
I forget who it was, but somebody said normality the other day. I got really excited. I didn't say anything, but I got really excited.
Normality. Like, there's some semblance of normality in going to prom like every other kid, right?
Yeah.
That's what he probably wanted to do. And so what if he has a secret? He's 17. The chances he marries the girl he's dating are so low anyways. Not that you have a chance, because you don't. You're crazy. But the chances that this is going to be like the girl, that's insane. And I feel bad for the kid. I really do. This is insane.
So how persistent was it back in the day with, like?
I mean, it depended. Like, again, so for those of you who don't know, this is some deep OCD lore here. I used to have a One Direction / 5 Seconds of Summer fan account that amassed.
I think it's been mentioned on here before. I'm not
Has
sure.
it?
Yeah.
Do they know about the follower count?
I don't know.
Like 750,000. So like 750,000 people followed that account. And it was like generically, it was like an anonymous account, kind of just generically run, where I would talk about like, oh, this picture, newly released photo, those accounts, those like stan accounts. I used to run one of those. Okay. Say what you will. I
So
turned
it's a
out
mental
okay.
illness that young girls have. They just can't break it until they hit a certain age.
It's such a but when you're that deeply parasocial, that's when it becomes a problem. So, for example, there are crazy people who think that because they met Tim one time, they should be on his show and they're his friend. That's been a thing. That could happen with even the three of us in this room who are either have appeared on Timcast IRL or like with Tate doing the noon show or even PCC, people think they know you and build that parasocial relationship to the point where you don't know us as well as you might think. And there are plenty of people we've become friends with, but there's like that line that most adults know exists. When you're a teenage girl and your whole life is this star or these stars, when I tell you floor to ceiling, and again, one day my stepmom will have a picture of my room, I'm sure somewhere, of my floor to ceiling. My dad's watching. Again, he's a little behind, but when he gets here, I'm sure he'll text me, Dad, if you can confirm I had floor to ceiling posters of One Direction, I need you to do that, because I did, but it is insane.
Is this a uniquely female thing? Like, I can't think of
so.
like
I think
guy.
so.
I just don't think guys are like this.
No.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
I mean, there was the one guy who tried to shoot Ronald Reagan for, who was it, Jodie Foster or whatever. The guy that remember he was trying to impress an actress or whatever. That's like the only example I can think of, and that's a really bad one. But this poor 17-year-old kid, he has a family.
I meant more the culture on it. Obviously, there are erotomania is a very real thing.
Sure, but like, is it?
Men
I
who
think
obsess over female celebrities.
I think it's become so much. Like, we were talking about this earlier. We were talking about how there's really not like a heartthrob now. Yeah. That all the girls like love or whatever, and so maybe it's a lack of that.
Well, I think the men that like would be driven to that point of insanity have been siloed into like streamers, where they just like simp over streamers and that sort of thing. Because you still do see,
and they send money and they do it in like different ways.
And you see like cases of them like showing up to their houses and stuff like that.
So that's true.
What's her name?
Which one of them?
Amaranth.
Yes,
and the guy got shot.
Yeah, so it's still like really common. It's just it's because there's not any like high profile where that would be. If anything, it's actually the opposite problem. It's where streamers have become what do they call it? Like what's the one-way street relationship called? You know, where
parasocial.
Parasocial, yeah. Where it's like, if anything, the advent of the parasocial relationship has actually made it much worse.
It's got a lot worse. And so like, I think back when I was, when I was in middle and high school and I had that account, I do think it was much more innocent at that point. Also, my parents knew I had at the time Twitter account, and they never I wasn't exhibiting signs of like obsession to the point of stalking. I wasn't gone for random hours of the day in front of someone's house or something. So I want to know too, like, let's say this is real and this isn't someone just making some really twisted joke. What are their parents doing? Like, again, this goes back to like, how do you not know your kid is sitting outside this guy's house? Like, that's insane.
If they've got a cell phone and they've got a reasonable amount of freedom leaving to and from school, like creepy stuff's gonna happen.
That is insane. And so also the way they speak is like so distinct. There has to be someone out there that knows who this is. Yeah. But whoever is leaking these screenshots, and if they know who this is, needs to go to cops immediately, right? Like, this is insane. I feel so bad for this kid. He does not deserve that. Like, he's just a Disney Plus actor in a Percy Jackson film, and
it should be a cautionary tale for any parent. Like I said, like, the parents who sign their kids up to be in the new Harry Potter series have to be a little bit selfish in a way. Even if their kid wants to, the right thing to do would have probably been to not let them try out for the series, given all of the pitfalls. Actually, the funny thing about Harry Potter is they're kind of a good example of it turning out reasonably well. Meaning that all three of the actors from the movies have turned out to be not
Britney Spears.
They're not Britney Spears. Yeah. Like Emma Watson did do that weird thing about self-pairing, and Ron Weasley and Rupert Grint ended up a little bit weird, but all
weird is like relative in Hollywood, right? Yes. So like, they're weird, but they're not weird.
But they're not the Nickelodeon kids,
right?
Or the kids from Disney kids.
And you get this response from parents, but also people online broadly, is where like situations like this happen. They're like, well, it's it's the fault of like the people behaving that way. Like, they should be able to behave this way, and then the people that are behaving that way, like that are like angry towards these kids, like, it's their fault. And it's like, yes, but that's not changing anytime soon. Correct. Like, because of the way the internet works. So your job as a parent is to react accordingly. And a lot of parents
shield them or whatever it has.
Yeah, it's like, do you think anyone would disagree that like, yeah, that's bad? Like, it's bad that happens. Yeah, but it's not going to change, at least not for the time being. So you as a parent have the impetus to react accordingly. And this is why you're seeing a lot of parents. You're seeing a lot of parents that just like refuse to put pictures of their children online.
That's what we've always said when we have kids. They're not going online. I don't care.
It's like, what's the point?
Who wants to see it? There's too many scenarios in which it could go wrong. Yeah. To just like, it also feels kind of vain to be like, you have to get like, you can still say you have kids and talk about them in a way that like Tim does this very well, where he distances himself in a way that's like protecting
Yeah,
his daughter,
it's
right?
a weird thing because I think that like putting your kids online is going to be like a fossil of like the 2010s because social media was still so new that people felt like this was a portfolio of their life.
And it used to actually be people you knew.
Yeah, so like people, and even for like public figures, they still felt like social media was a portfolio of their life. Where now that's changing, and you're actually seeing way less people like posting about their personal like family and these sort of things because people realize pretty quickly like, oh no, this is just an extension of my ideas, but no one really cares about my family for better or for worse.
Well, we've actually had that discussion that eventually the flex will be not having to be online at all.
Yeah.
Well, I don't get these, and this will be more political, but I don't get these political commentators where they post pictures of their kids and their full names, by the way. We were just talking about this last week. Posting their full, like, government name. Yeah. The day they were born, the time they were born, how much they weighed. Like, that is akin to being like, what street did you grow up on? What's your mom's maiden name? It's akin to that. But my point being, it's very dangerous now, especially if your parents are somebody who... There's a lot of people that don't like. Charlie Kirk hid his kids from the public with good reason. And that's because there clearly is a danger out there when you are in that space. And putting your kids' faces online to virtue signal to have a family, to me, is really gross.
I mean, people say that to most of the ones that do post it anyways.
But they still do. Like, I don't understand how you can't have the mind of, like, not.
I don't remember who posted it the other week, but somebody on X was like, took down the pictures I posted of my kid.
Because it had two
because
saves.
it had saves, and they were like,
yeah,
not doing that.
Phil was the one. Phil responded to that. That's how we saw it. Because Phil was like, don't post pictures of your kids. Phil's another good example of someone who has openly talked about being a father without putting his kid out there. He's a cute kid, by the way. That baby is so cute. We saw it yesterday. It's a cute son.
But the point is like better safe than sorry.
Correct.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Paramount a little bit. So, the merger has been announced for ages. Now we're moving it around.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. So, Paramount is going to be purchasing Warner Brothers. It has been decreed, unless the government gets involved and decides to stop the purchase from going through. It could happen. We are in the middle of what I like to call David Ellison derangement syndrome. You've heard of Trump derangement syndrome. There is also Ellison derangement syndrome, where people have this very, very huge hatred for him, despite the fact that they may not even really know why. They just know that he's tangentially connected to Donald Trump because his dad is friends with Donald Trump, and he's talked about wanting to make movies that people actually want to watch, perish the thought. But now what we're seeing is over 1,000 different members of Hollywood signed an open letter, because they love to sign open letters, saying that they should block the Paramount offer. It says more than 1,000 film and TV stars and creatives, including Joaquin Phoenix, Ben Stiller, Kristen Stewart, and more, issued an open letter Monday morning opposing the Paramount Skydance pending acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery. This is what it says. We are deeply concerned by indications of support for this merger that prioritize the interests of a small group of powerful stakeholders over the broader public good. The letter, which was published Monday by the New York Times, I love how elitist even the letter is by being published in the New York Times, and was made available on the website blockthemerger.com. Quote, the integrity, independence, and diversity of our industry would be grievously compromised. Competition is essential for a healthy economy and a healthy democracy. Of course, I don't know what that has to do with this media company, but go off. So is thoughtful regulation and enforcement. Run by CEO David Ellison, Paramount Skydance announced its intended $111 billion acquisition of the David Zaslav-led Warner Bros. Discovery in late February, following its battle with Netflix. Included the featured signatory section in the new open letter opposing the deal, which was signed by 1,034 people. These are some of the names: Adam McKay, Alan Cumming, Alyssa Milano, Boots Riley, Bryan Cranston, Cynthia Nixon, Damon Lindelof, David Fincher, Denis Villeneuve, Elliot Page, Glenn Close, Jane Fonda, J.J. Abrams, Jason Bateman, John Leguizamo, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Oh, it's gonna pour. What are we gonna do with Hamilton?
Oh no.
Margaret Cho, Mark Ruffalo, of course, Patti LuPone, Ramsey Youssef, and more. Representatives for Paramount Discovery did not immediately respond, but that's not true. They did actually respond after the fact. This is what Paramount has said about it. We hear and understand the concerns that some of our creative community have raised and respect the commitment to protecting and expanding creativity. This transaction uniquely brings together complementary strengths to create a company that can greenlight more projects, back bold ideas, support talent across multiple stages of their careers, and bring stories to audiences at a truly global scale while strengthening competition. That's just BS, but we're going to listen to their spin. By ensuring multiple scaled players are investing in creative content. We have been clear in our commitment to do just that, increasing our output to a minimum of 30 high-quality feature films annually with full theatrical releases, continuing to license content, and preserving iconic brands with independent and creative leadership. They are fantastic at saying nothing at all when they
say so much with to say nothing.
It says, ensuring creators have more avenues for their work, not fewer. We understand the concerns raised as a result of the disruptions caused to our industry by COVID, the entry of big tech. I mean, they're literally part of big tech. They're talking about...
Oh my gosh, big companies are getting involved.
and changing in consumer behavior. But we promise this. Paramount remains deeply committed to talent, and this merger strengthens both consumer choice and competition. No, it doesn't. Creating greater avenues for creators, audiences, and the communities they work with. Now, here's my problem. I am inherently against consolidation for the creatives because I do believe that no matter what they say, even if I do think that Paramount was the best option of the two, it does not somehow create a mythical option of more competition.
Yeah.
It creates less competition. Here's the problem. Damon Lindelof's comments about it, where he talked about Hollywood is a blue-collar town and that blue-collar town is all about to get effed. They did not care about it being a blue-collar town when they sacrificed making content that was made for everybody to start creating things that were made for niche audiences, which is what they've been doing for the last decade. They have only just recently started to walk that back and reverse course. But here's the problem. It's too late. It was financially detrimental. It was culturally detrimental. It's hurt all parties involved. The strikes didn't help in 2023, which only made it worse for the below-the-line workers. Here's the problem again. They're just talking about this now. This conversation should have been happening when they were talking about greenlighting projects in 2020, 2021, 2022. How will us making a bunch of stuff that regular people don't want to watch hurt the below-the-line workers, the gaffers, the lighters, the people in charge of doing all the stuff that make the actors look and sound pretty? They didn't care then. They only care now because there's somebody to pass the buck off to. It's no longer about whether the creatives cost a bunch of people their jobs. They did. It's about a corporation costing the people their jobs. Two things can be true at the same time. On one hand, consolidation sucks. Do I believe that this is the best of two bad options? Yes. Do I also believe that the poor creative decisions, the directors who told the audiences that, oh, you just didn't understand my work, you're the reason this movie bombed, all of the Charlie's Angels 2019 blaming men for sexism, for not seeing their movie that blamed men for all of society's ills and didn't want men to go see it and then complained when they didn't? I also believe that that's a problem. But this is just a way for them to pass the buck off in a corporation, which is the case du jour in Hollywood, which is to say big corporation bad, government intervention good.
Yeah, you see this all the time from big companies that are trying to get something controversial across the finish line as they appeal to sort of left-wing platitudes.
Yeah.
And they try to basically get it to pass the sniff test. Now, in this case, it's so egregious that I don't think anyone's going to really buy it. But this is very common. You see this all the time where companies will. It's kind of like when you're trying to give a dog some medicine and you wrap some ham around it or whatever.
What's an example of this
Mocha,
happening in another company?
I would have to kind of rack the brain for that a little bit because there's just so many examples of this happening. But
no, your analogy's perfect though. It really is trying to. It's something they don't want, but you're trying to wrap it up in something nice.
Yeah. You'll see it when companies rapidly expand, right? They rapidly expand, and it's about delivering resources to untapped communities and these sorts of things. And you're just sitting there, you're like, I don't know, does anybody believe this? But
it's also funny because Damon Lindelof, the guy who said that, was he did the 2019 Watchmen series, and he's under he has an overall deal with Warner Brothers, who is the one that's getting sold, right?
Yeah.
So. He's self-interested. They're all self-interested, but they're never self-interested enough to put the audience first. Again, they understand the Damon Lindelofs have made their money.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, all of those names that you read earlier, maybe some of the younger ones, not so much, but those might be what you'd consider to be like the most ideologically poisoned. But if we're talking about like the Alyssa Milanos, the Alan Cummings, the Bryan Cranstons, they've made their money. It doesn't matter anymore. They're going to continue working.
It's a virtue signal.
It's a virtue signal.
A great example is, this happens in real estate quite a bit. You see it in New York City all the time. Is like a good example is they're building a new soccer stadium next to Citi Field in Queens, and it's being bankrolled by just like the hodgepodge of all these multinational enterprises and these sort of things. And the only way that they're able to get this across the finish line, because they're getting a bunch of tax breaks and these sorts of things. So to a left-wing person, this objects to pretty much every single one of their sensibilities. So the only way they're able to get this across the finish line is if they're like, we're also going to build 3,000 units of affordable housing, and it's going to uplift the local black and brown community or whatever
they say.
And in those instances, people actually buy it. It's actually convincing enough where like it passes the sniff test for the city council, the assemblymen, these sorts of things. And that's like an example where it works quite often, is the affordable housing thing, because those units still have a fixed price and they're still typically widely out of the range of like any poor person in New York City. The only way that poor people in New York City are able to live there is through like public housing, these sorts of things. But they're able to get that across the finish line by like wrapping it in like kind of leftist language. In New York City, another New York City example is when Amazon was trying to put a second headquarters, and they're trying to put that there, and they were like, again, this would offend the sensibilities of every left-wing person. Now I'm saying this as a conservative, I don't really care that much, but they were like, well, we're going to provide all these local jobs and uplift all these Queens natives and that sort of thing. And he would like comb through and he'd look at it, and it was like most of these jobs would just be like moving people from out of state into, or like these jobs would only be available to people with like bachelor's degrees. And these
Hollywood is already like, they've already moved everything offshore. They're already producing everything overseas because it's cheaper to do over there. The sound stages in the U.S. are largely empty. The ones in California are largely empty. They're filming in the U.K. because the tax credits are more advanced, and they get way more like their union is easier to deal with than dealing with the ones here. They're not flying them over from the U.S. I mean, they're flying the actors over. The producers are going over there, but they're getting local talent because their unions are easier to deal with. This is what Lindelof said about signing the signing the open letter on behalf of the blue-collar makeup of the town. It's thousands and thousands of grips, gaffers, drivers, and decorators, builders and boom operators, camera teams and caterers, and they're all about to get effed. Hollywood mergers mean fewer movies and fewer TV shows, and that means fewer jobs. When two-story backlots are now owned by the same company, the outcome is intuitive. One becomes a ghost town. I'm scared, but I'm not a ghost, and the fight is already lost if I never fought. So I signed. He said, so I signed proudly. I understand why many of my peers have not. Trust me, I'm more of a puker than a stormer. But these boats are heading for the beach, whether we like it or not. This was also true in 2023 when you guys went on strike again, when you had no leverage whatsoever. And your deals have continued to, production has fell. We just did a topic the other week about the fact that Hollywood is a ghost town now, with hundreds of thousands of jobs being lost, partially because of consolidation, partially because the streaming bubble that burst after 2020 and COVID meant that they greenlit a bunch of stuff that cost a fortune that made them no money, and it's all the song remains the same again.
Yeah, this is like why, if you're a conservative, which I imagine a lot of people watching the show are, this is why when you have an issue with major corporations behaving the way that they do, at least the way that they have in the last 30 to 40 years, and engaging in globalism and offshore and these sorts of things, you have to be actually very careful the specific line that you push when you're criticizing it, because ultimately what happens is if you operate within a leftist framework, then you're ultimately going to be forced to concede at a certain point, because you're just advancing their message. And so what you see with a lot of these unions and these sorts of things, and these unions object to the offshoring, the main reason they're objecting to that is on liberal terms, is they're saying well, this is depreciating wages and I deserve a fair wage. And it's deserve a fair wage, wages should be proportionate to the value you're providing for the economy, sorts of things. The right-wing way to apply pressure in these situations would be to push for tariffs, to push for protectionist policies. You should say that I have cultural objections to, again, a lot of the movie manufacturing occurring in China. I would object to that. I would object to these companies on the grounds of we should just protect our native economy, like nativist sentiment.
There's actually an interesting discussion we had there too, because one of the things I find the funniest is Hollywood always wants to, and I've tried to make points about this before, which is like, there was a thing I posted about the other day. I forget the actor who said it, was basically talking about how, TV, as people understand it on network television, it's not about the art. It's about selling advertisements. And literally the television show is just there to give you stuff to put in between a set of advertisements that make the studio money or make the network money. And my point was like, there's nothing wrong with this, because most actors have an overinflated sense of what their art means to the world.
Yeah.
When we're talking about corporate art, yes, there is absolutely a discussion to be had. We just had a whole discussion about Justin Bieber and Sabrina Carpenter and what that art meant for the world.
Right.
But in the case of television, right, I kind of like the idea of a person taking a more pragmatic approach to understanding that what he's doing isn't necessarily always going to be high art. You're creating something so that advertisers can sell advertising space.
Yeah.
But in this space right here, they want their art to be valued on what they think it means culturally, not what it actually brings in at the box office.
Yeah.
Like they're not talking about how much money their movies are making. They're talking about how important the art of cinema is. Yes, it is, but unfortunately, you're in the most capitalist side of that form of art, so there has to be a number put on it. It's not something that can just be like, we want to pay you $100 million because it makes us feel good. That's not how it works.
That's fair.
All right. It's time for you to tell everybody about My 600-Pound Life. This is a bummer.
Yeah, so My 600-Pound Life star Dolly Martinez died at the age of 30. Her sister announced her death on Facebook this past weekend. Her sister Lindsay had just posted an update the day before asking fans to send their thoughts and prayers as her sister was being hospitalized. Martinez is known for her appearance in season 10 of My 600-Pound Life. In her 2021 episode, she weighed just under 593 pounds and relied on supplemental oxygen. She was shown meeting with the show's bariatric surgeon, Dr. Now, and after the episode, moved to Houston to be closer to the surgeon's office. She lost 40 pounds, but that did not qualify her for the weight loss procedure. So this goes to the bigger conversation of what we have in society, which I would just call like an obesity epidemic at this point. It's so bad. There are, I believe the number is 40% of adults today are considered overweight or obese. And that number was nowhere, it wasn't even double digits back in the probably 50s or 60s. There was not that many obese people. And it's not the first time someone from this show has died due to their weight. It is, or it should be, at the very least, a call to action for a lot of people who are struggling with weight gain. So there have been 15 stars as of now that I could find that died to weight-related causes.
Yeah.
There was an article that said, 18 people have now died. One was a car accident. One was like kind of undisclosed. Another one was someone ending their life. And I was like, that's not fair to include.
It is. So the point is like they said the curse of My 600-Pound Life, the 18 TLC stars who have died since appearing on the show.
The curse of being obese.
Yeah, but the thing is they're including the car accident. They're saying that more than just their weight is the cause.
But
of this.
But if it had been majority of people fell to depression and took their own lives, I'd be like, okay, you know what? You got a point. But most of these people died from heart attacks and from things that were caused by their heart or their body just giving out because of the extreme weight that they had on them. I mean, the pictures of some of they're heartbreaking, right? You wonder how they even got this big, because I get a little bit of a gut and I'm sitting there and I'm like smacking my stomach and Brett's like, you're fine. You're like not even, I'm like 115 on a bad day, right? So he's like, what are you doing? So I do think this is the second person this year to have died from that show, which that's actually quite a lot.
Well,
it's
like
only April.
all the body positivity influencers who have died over the last couple
Exactly.
of years.
This is not including them.
It's funny how like they completely abandoned the line on body positivity once Ozempic became available.
Once
because
Lizzo was like,
once they realized they're actually, because like the main reason, and you know, I'm saying this with nothing but love in my heart. The main reason people become morbidly obese is because they have like bad will, like the poor willpower.
That's what they've said.
I mean, I understand there's like people that undergo trauma and that sort of thing, and like it's a different reaction or whatever. But I'm just saying that it is ultimately like a result of poor willpower, and a lot of people have poor willpower. So those people obviously are going to take the easy way out, and Ozempic is a very easy way to.
But it doesn't
weight.
build a habit.
Yeah, but
it
yeah,
also
so
short circuits the part of your brain that gets the positive feedback from food.
I know. I'm
weight.
just saying
that's
my point. Is I'm like, it is the easy way out, and so it's like this idea that like fat acceptance was built on like some some sort of like actual principle is just a completely like the curtain was revealed. But in addition to that, I'm actually tactically pro Ozempic for morbidly obese people, because I do think that whatever complications could come as a result of Ozempic is offsetted by like the damage you're doing to your body by being like massively
Just your
like
knees
morbidly obese.
alone, like the inability to walk upright.
Like you will die. It's just a matter of when. Where Ozempic, it's like, okay, there could be some complications, but again, that's like totally worth it. If
Not
it means,
really
like,
fatal, like when you're obese like that.
And so like trust me, you're not gonna see me like shilling for GLP-1s or anything like that. But I am saying like, so like if you're overweight, like don't bother. Like you can just lose the weight. You just need like a bit of willpower.
If you're like just
I
a
could
little
lose a few
overweight,
pounds.
go work out, go
But if you're obese,
can't
then it's
get out
like
of bed,
I'm like, actually you should take it, because again, you've just demonstrated
help
that
get
you
you
have
moving.
poor willpower, and it's like at a certain point you can't. I don't know if this is like a concession to make, but it's like at a certain point some people can't actually pick themselves up by their bootstraps. In this case, because they can't reach their bootstraps, so it's like
well,
maybe
there's programs for food addicted people that can go in and basically like they give you some kind of GLP-1.
Yeah.
And then they give you a good diet. So you're building the habits while taking a GLP-1 so that you don't get out of that and immediately go back to junk food. And look, I'm a big fan of junk food. I love a good fast food. I know Tate's a big fan of stress testing the body.
It's true.
So I get it.
I never really thought about it, because it's kind of similar to addicts. Like if you've been in rehab for opioids, and they'll put you on something like Suboxone, which is basically to curb the withdrawal effects that you go through, but it doesn't get you high in any way. It's all it does is prevent you from going
It's
through.
GLP-1 for someone who's obese and
they'll put you on a maintenance program where they'll put you on it long term and then lower the dose very slowly, because it's very hard to get off of. Like methadone is dangerous in a different way, but it's very, very hard to get off of Suboxone because of the way, how long it stays in your system.
Yeah, and like the people that are like 400, well, I would say like 300 pounds and up, probably 400 pounds and up, the amount of time it takes to get back down to a healthy weight, like you're not mitigating any potential health complications that come out of it. It's like, and then again, most people that hit that weight don't actually ever come back down. They just die of complications related to that. So it's like, so in that sense, it's like probably just worth it from the take it. I'm not equating the two, because obviously cancer is not up to you. Like cancer just kind of just happens for a variety of reasons. I know people are like,
but if you're healthier, you have a better chance of beating it too.
Right? Yeah, then that's true. But I'm saying with a specific example I'm using is like people will use chemotherapy while they're on cancer, or while they have cancer, because again, the risk that chemotherapy poses to the body is far more dire than cancer does. And again, I'm not equating the two, because obviously cancer is not up to you. Like obesity, you could muster willpower to overcome it. But I am saying that again, when you're looking down the barrel, even if you're going to lose weight, if you're looking down the barrel of another 3 years of being morbidly obese, the health complications that come from that are far more dire than the health complications that could arise from GLP-1.
Well, and you see this with so I've talked a lot about these people, the plus size park hoppers. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about,
don't go find it.
Don't go find it. It will. Now that I've said it, it's going to pop up in your algorithm anyway. So these are, I think it's 4 or 5. I can't even remember now. Obese. I'm not even being dramatic. They call themselves plus size park hoppers. These are obese women who basically tell you all the tips and tricks, their words, to getting around having to sit in a chair with arms in it because you might not fit, or for anything like can't fit in a ride, or here's the best company we use for like the motorized scooter so that we don't have to walk all day because we chafe, and chafing is normal when you have to walk a lot. When you chafe every single time because your legs are rubbing together because you are so obese. It there is a difference. I understand chafing happens. That's normal. It happens with runners a lot and stuff. That's different. People think if you just like criticize it, you're like, well, do your legs never chafe? Like, that's not what I'm saying. My point being, it's because they're so obese, right? Obese, right? Like
obese.
My bad.
That was a Freudian slip.
Phew, ladies and gentlemen. No, but like it really is sad, right? But there is a white pill in a lot of this, and it's the people who have lost weight. Through the program of My 600-Pound Life. That doctor is brutal, by the way. I don't know if you guys have seen the show, but Dr. Now walks in, he goes, "You are fat." Like, that's just it. You're fat. You're gonna die. I'm like, thank you, Dr. Now. Like, someone's got to tell him, right? So
it is funny because like the plus size park hoppers, they're saying now there's gonna be a GLP-1 pill and it's gonna get down to like $10 a month.
They're gonna love it.
And then even if you don't have like insurance, it'll still be like $20 a month. All those people are gonna disappear. All those people are gonna disappear. They're gonna take it. And again, I think
all Trump needs to do is get rid of RFK and just put in some type of legislation so that we can get Ozempic for free, and he'll win over a bunch of people.
he is. I mean, through his like what the Trump
I know,
arc thing,
yeah,
it's like it's
arc.
funny that like part of it he's I think correctly realizes that obesity is like clearly, and this isn't like people say it's like an American thing, but it's like Mexico has a higher obesity rate. Like Britain,
true?
Yeah, and
didn't know that.
Britain's obesity rate's only like 10% less than ours. So it's like this idea that like Americans are
It's
uniquely
more
affected
Western,
by
I think,
obesity.
than anything.
It's also
Yeah,
it's actually more
very
impressive
Western.
to be that overweight in some of these other countries that have more walkable cities.
That's
I know.
Whereas
Yeah.
America is
Yeah.
so vast that you have to drive everywhere.
Yeah. So it's like it's funny. You know, I was in Kenya recently. I was in Africa broadly, but Kenya
As
specifically.
one does.
just
Kenya-
regular trip to Kenya. Yeah.
Well, what was interesting is like Kenya is the first country outside of South Africa that's like really seeing an influx of like processed food as a prepackaged
Okay,
food
yeah,
and these sorts
yeah,
of things. Really calorie dense food that you can
Yeah.
just eat a ton of and not realize you're eating all of it. And you would walk around Nairobi and I would see like obese like natives everywhere. So it's like
But that's more of a Western. It's becoming more Westernized.
yeah, so it's just
too,
like as
so-
soon as you have access to calorie dense like junk food, I think for the most part people just blow up because they
Yeah.
just don't realize, because it's like you can pound like a sleeve of Oreos and not realize, and you've just mainlined like 1,500 calories.
That's like your day's worth of calories
yeah.
there. Yeah. Like the thing is, we have the education in the United States to know not to do that, right? You know better than to do that. I'm still mad at Michelle Obama for getting rid of all the good snacks in our vending machines growing up. So mad. But we know better. People in Kenya may not have those resources because it wasn't as widespread for them.
Well,
that
people
they
know
just
better
don't-
and they still,
I
because
guess,
it's just
yeah.
like people will always take the easiest
Satisfaction,
possible. Yeah, they'll take
yeah.
the easiest possible route no matter what.
I-
A certain segment of the population.
Right.
I had like a very big white pill for myself, which is that like when I was not feeling well, I drank soda and realized how bloated I felt after drinking
You were
it.
loving that you felt bad after it because you were like, that means I'm not going to want to drink it as
Yeah,
much.
I was like, this is awesome because it's like I used to love soda, and now I can't drink any more than maybe like a half of a
I
tiny
never
glass,
finish a bottle.
or I feel like 250 pounds somehow.
Yeah, I'll never
so
finish.
that's a huge white pill for me. But it's very hard to make that change.
But
and
I encourage people
I like
to...
scared myself into it. I'm like, bro, you're gonna get diabetes. You're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you love to
that's
skate,
true.
bro. You can't do that without feet. You
want
can't have your
kids.
legs cut off.
You want
Yeah,
kids, you want to be able to play with your
Exactly.
kids, right? So the last thing I'll say on this is, look up like Tammy Slayton, who did 1,000-Pound Sisters, because her and her sister were both overweight, and she was from My 600-Pound Life. There's some really incredible stories of people losing 400 pounds of weight and living healthy lives now. So there's a white pill in all of that. I wanted to end us on a nice note with that.
Rest in peace, Dolly Martinez.
Dolly. I called her Dolly Madison earlier, and that was a moment for me.
Yeah.
I almost did it on air too. I had to catch myself. I was like,
You
Dolly.
just did it on air right now.
Well, I'm admitting it now. That one was on purpose, but
'cause
I
you're a
almost
presidential
I was
nerd.
like, Dolly,
You love presidents.
Dolly M. Rest in peace, girl.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Super Chats, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, we're like a little under halfway to a second crisis party.
Yeah, why do you guys hate us so
come
much?
on, why do you guys
What did Tate
hate
and I
us
ever
so
do to you
much?
guys to not give it
So
best?
true.
It's kind of
The
your
frick?
guys' fault, right?
The crap.
I'm going to go through the Rumble rants first here, too. We got one from Broody Gambit. Says, hi. Hope you had a great weekend. I got to meet Kevin Eastman and had him sign my 25th anniversary pizza box collection. I also got his original prelim art from his Magic the Gathering card for Mikey. That's awesome, dude.
Nice. Tim would love
Anything,
that.
anything old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I am in support of.
True.
It's awesome. The local Wendigo says, PCC is love, PCC is life.
You know it.
That is
Is that
true.
true?
That is
It
true.
is. Oh, it reminded me of that video.
And then I saw one more. We got a Bitcoin. Yes, a Rumble wallet. Let's go. From Alex Kuhn. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex.
Things are getting electronic.
We appreciate
Let's
it.
go.
All right.
Because I like the idea that every single time that someone donates cash, Rumble or YouTube is like put cash into an envelope and mail it.
Yeah, mail it. It's cute. Yeah.
Well, no, didn't we get cash in the mail from like
We got it from
Like a handwritten note, like my super chat.
What's it called? Nielsen.
Nielsen?
The Nielsen Index. We filled it
I
out
was
thinking like worst that could happen is they don't send you the money. Because it
Yeah.
wasn't like
blew my mind that
they
like,
sent
there's
us
still a world where they
$15
send cash.
in cash. Like a week later, we got the $15
Oh, I had to
in
do
cash.
that. I had a internet provider like chase me down for like $100, and they sent me like a return envelope. And I'm like, I'm not gonna write a check, so I just went and withdrew the exact amount of cash and put it in the envelope and mailed
Yeah.
it back. And they never, never went to,
Never went to
Collections.
claims. or
never went to
anything like that,
collections. So
yeah.
I assumed they're just like, okay.
Cool.
Some
I didn't know they
the
accepted
guy in
cash.
charge of the mail is like, yes, it was paid, and then kept it himself.
Yeah, it
Just
was
doesn't
so
get
funny.
Paid, doesn't get paid enough to like.
I
he's
know.
like,
It was so funny
Yeah.
putting the envelope and it was like heavy and like you could hear the coin
Change.
shaking.
All right, Shane H. Wilder says, Happy Monday, Dasovics. Olivia, you are on PCC, meaning you are fair meme game. This is not a threat, merely a warning that you will be memed soon.
I was memed before PCC.
Wow.
So yeah, I got it. It's good.
Shane H. Wilder also says, oh snap, we have a Tate. My bad, big dog. Much love, no homo, homie. That's a weird one.
It's been a very homo show today. It
Very
feels like. With Tate.
homoerotic
It's been a
show,
very
yeah.
homo day for Tate today. I think. Yeah.
It's typically how it goes.
I'm gonna like I already made a thumbnail, but I'm gonna change the thumbnail. It's like Tate defends the masculinity of Justin Bieber. It's gonna
Yeah,
be,
I know, and it's interesting because it's like
Tate
gay for Justin
talks
Bieber.
about Justin Bieber's sexuality.
Yeah, I psychoanalyze
The sex
Justin
appeal of
Bieber's
Justin
Tate
Bieber.
loves the
sexuality.
sexual appeal of Justin Bieber.
I think the people that are like extremely heterosexual understand what I'm doing.
No,
when
yeah,
I'm making these
it's,
calculations, and so
I
it's like,
respect it.
yeah, I do face these charges of like homosexual tendencies on a daily basis. But I think my like the way I conduct myself on a personal, so like my day-to-day life,
Hey, you're
I
a
think
commentator. It's
would
your job.
reflect like some heterosexual
Yeah,
tendencies.
there you go.
Username we do not read on this channel, based on being instinctively disgusted by Islam. That's what they were
for
saying
Sabrina.
about that's not what it was. I don't think she's that
No,
smart.
she was confused.
Shane H. Wilder says, Zagruda, is that the guy who filmed JFK?
As a pruder, yeah. Close enough.
Also, if you do not have the screenshot of Sabrina saved for memes, then I am ashamed of you. You know what it was?
I think I have it.
Do you know what it is?
Actually, I do
it's
have it.
the liberal woman's version of the Sydney Sweeney interview meme.
That's what it is. No, it is. It's just another white girl being,
Yeah.
kind of, confused.
All right. Corey Anderson says, shocking. Olivia has another bad take
Yeah,
on
that's what I
music.
saw him
Taylor
say.
and Sabrina are trash. They have no redeeming qualities.
When I said that there are people who just hate them on principle and will just continue to hate them for that, I was talking about Corey Anderson specifically.
Yeah. Corey, feel free to send back your rebuttal.
I'm calling you out.
Username again that we do not read on this channel. There is no reason to apologize to Christians. There's no risk of violence from them.
That's
I guess.
true.
I don't think she realized it was like, I don't think she was apologizing because it was like Arabic or Muslim. I think it's because they weren't white.
Yeah, because
I don't think it has anything. It could have been an Asian person she would have apologized to. So
Yeah, like the Christian, the white thing. It's like, yeah, there's no
Yeah.
impetus because every incentive structure bends towards like punishing them. So like you're just participating in it.
Jason Dix.
it's Jason Dixon.
Well, it's not what it says here.
Whoa.
New co-host, best co-host. Fit
Atmore.
me into chat.
Atmore,
Let's
your
go.
name sounds kind of gay when it's read out loud. Hate to
little
tell
bit.
you that, buddy, but hey, I appreciate you.
T-Bone 730 says,
T-Bone.
"Look at that new co-host, Bestie. You're doing amazing. Tate, good take on the Sabrina stuff. Brett, always coming in with the base takes. Go get PCC merch. Yeah, as a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen,
Thanks, T-Bone.
you can go and do that
Picture
right
it.
now on the Pop Culture Crisis Teespring.
If you love mocha, you'll actually get the mocha mug.
You
If you don't love mocha, it's because you didn't buy her mug, and she actually knows.
Look at that picture.
And you guys
Justice
should
for
feel bad because mocha is now, we have discovered, officially deaf.
Yeah.
So you should, out of pure guilt, go and
There
go
is
do that. Go do
Justice is blind. Blind Justice Mocha.
that. She's deaf, but you know what? We make it work.
Yep.
Same thing.
There's also new shirts in there. I do like that
I
one.
love the
like
90s shirt. I keep
yeah.
meaning to buy one.
I do love this one as well. I do think that I prefer logos that are less ostentatious. So the one on the back is pretty
So
good too.
The black on black's your thing for sure.
It is. And then there's this one down there. Love these logos. So these are all available. I just put the Teespring in the live chat. It's also in the description box for this episode. So you guys can go down there and get merch. All right. Jason Dixon says Justin Bieber is the most closeted gay dude. I mean, given the amount of women he's been in
Atmore.
relationships with, and I don't think that that's true.
It's Atmore.
I think that that's actually cope from straight men that
That's
wish that
Atmore.
women liked them as much as girls tend to like pop
Look,
stars.
That's how.
Yeah, I don't even know what he's
It's
like.
okay.
That charge works sometimes, like with Benson Boone. But what has Justin Bieber demonstrated that would make him gay?
Peeing in a mop bucket? I have no idea.
I think every move he makes is like
Who
obnoxiously
hasn't peed in a
heterosexual.
mop bucket though?
Yeah.
Who hasn't?
Atmore also says, how many super chats to make the money gun go burr? Well,
if it's over $5, it goes burr, I think.
And
maybe?
I mean,
That's what I've noticed.
To get the crisis meter, it's probably a half, so probably about 50 right now, a little bit more. All right. I have no idea what that username is, but this was a cool performance. If he was dancing and being a metrosexual, y'all would criticize. I think this was his FU to the performance industry.
Maybe.
I mean, would I have criticized? I don't know. I was a fan of the performance. Same person says Justin fans are super happy, non-fans aren't.
That's what I saw when I was like, people keep saying that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder says, for reference, Pretty's For You was Alice's first album and doesn't sound like him. It's weird psychedelia rehearsal recordings, never played in concert. Okay. Again, with this username, I don't want to say it because the first part is a swear word. Perhaps he performed as a singer instead of a pop star. To me, this felt really contrary to the role that was always pushed on him. Active fans seem happy, but critics seem to have a lot to say. Yes, I have always pointed out as a Justin defender for a long time that he's multi-instrumental, plays a lot of different stuff, has no problem doing acoustic performances and stuff like that. It was more of a singer's performance than it was then at that point is the difference that if Adele sits in a chair and just does the songs as they're pre-planned from a DJ, like then all you're getting is a sterile performance where a bunch of stuff pre-planned gets played and she sings. In this case, you get the singing along with the added interaction of him, going through YouTube and something that feels like a one-of-a-kind. I actually think, I'm going to go one farther. I think it would have been even funnier if he had YouTube Premium and purposely went to an alt so that he could do it without YouTube Premium to make you listen to the ads.
Yeah.
I think that would have been hilarious. All right. From Grega with love. Sabrina uses a backing track like almost every female pop star does. I don't consider that truly live. Live means not using pre-recorded vocals.
That's semantics. That's just splitting hairs at this point. Like we're saying, like a live performance is, yes, she's not playing every instrument. There's going to be backup vocals. That saves from having to have backup singers. She has on her tours, like Taylor Swift, they have backup singers. But when they're doing a one and done or a two and that's it, they're not going to pay backup singers to come in just for that. Well,
then I guess it's a matter of personal preference. Do you want to go see an artist because you want to hear the upbeat songs and see 8 outfit changes in a bunch of stages?
Yes, I'm a girl. Objectively, yes.
Or do you want to go hear the vocals?
As a female, I mean both, but as a female, I love it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Katie says, hi, everyone. I went to a Iran and Jewish and Aussie rally for peace on Sunday. Nice. Iran people very happy with Trump's actions over there.
That's awesome. Yes, Katie messaged me and said that she had posted about it, and I told her I would look after the show today. So I stand by that. I will still do that. Hi, Katie.
Shane H. Wilder says, damn it, Olivia, as a friend, seek help. Also, I'm impressed by Tate's waxing poetic on this cringe like a modern day, is that Rene Descartes?
Rene Descartes, yeah.
No,
yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, Tate,
it
again,
was
he's holding it down.
take.
Yep.
He is holding it down. That goes whether it's the, what is it, the watermelon, Snicker bar, Wiener Man, or if it's, political philosophy. He'll always be holding it down.
All right. Corey Anderson says, when is the last time Taylor or Sabrina did anything for anyone else when something wasn't in it for them? I don't know if that's even a fair...
No one ever does that. Like, that's just like people, right?
Like
that's
most people don't wake up, like the John Cena does the most Make-A-Wish, grants the most Make-A-Wish things ever, but it's still great for his public image.
Yeah.
Like people by and large wouldn't donate to charity at such a high volume if there weren't like tax breaks.
That's why so many people say I don't care about Iran because it's halfway around the world. That's exactly why people have that take.
Yeah.
It's because, I get up in the morning because I'm doing a job that I like and at a company that I really like and I make money for it. I'm not just going to get up and be like, hey, Tim, let me just come and sit around for 8+ hours a day.
Yeah, but you did the Discord for free.
Because I like doing it for myself. But, I wouldn't come here, drive all the way out here, and sit here for no reason.
It's like when people are when migrants, and they're like, well, they're looking for a better life. And I'm like, every decision anyone ever makes is in pursuit of a better life.
Exactly. That's very true. That's very much. Like, getting married wasn't because I was like, oh,
Yeah, people.
Like,
I mean,
did-
marrying me does objectively give you a better life, so I
That's
can
very
understand
true.
that. I can
very
understand that.
true.
Yeah, I think like 95% of people's decision makings is like self-interested.
Yeah,
That's not necessarily
again,
a bad.
He does
thing.
not like them, so he's gonna make it like
Yeah.
it's something that they
Again, like
just
most
do.
people
we
will-
all do that.
Yeah, like a lot of the incentives for donating to charity would be removed if there wasn't tax breaks. Like,
No, literally.
people would just throw their clothes
Literally.
away instead of going to
Yes.
Goodwill. If like,
Absolutely.
a lot of people would if they didn't have like that little receipt
Absolutely.
they give you.
Burned Oils says Tate isn't Blay. He didn't like it last time he.
Whatever that
I don't-
means.
is that
Hell
a,
yeah.
Is that a compliment or an attack?
Heck
I
yeah,
don't
dude.
know.
Whatever you just said.
don't
And I
know.
took that
Yes.
personal.
Yes to whatever you just said.
All right. I'm going to end the poll, ladies and gentlemen.
Pulls over.
They're gonna say Justin
Bieber
Bieber.
mom.
They
They
were
did.
never gonna say.
It was
Sabrina.
actually 50-50 for a while.
Total
say
Bieber
Sabrina.
victory.
You can only keep one, Justin Bieber or Sabrina Carpenter. We have 70% for Justin Bieber, as it should be, ladies and gentlemen.
And Justin Bieber is a foreign national, so that just shows really how bad Sabrina is.
Actually, it shows how much people don't care about
Sabrina-
the immigration problem in this
It's
country.
true.
Yeah.
Woman versus foreign national. That's a
Yeah.
discussion for the ages.
So true.
All right.
So true.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in here today. Thank you guys so much. Hit the like button as always on this episode and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Tate, where can they find you?
X and Instagram at Real Tate Brown. Come follow me. I think there's this common problem. A lot of people say, I've seen your tweets, but I didn't realize I wasn't following you. Something like followers and subscribers don't even really matter anymore. It seems like it's more about engagement. So make sure you're following me because it is nice that you can see my tweets every once in a while.
Perfect.
All right, guys, what you should do is go to timcast.com, hit join us, become a member if you're not already. And if you are a member and you're not in the Discord, I don't know what you're doing. You guys should all go and join the Discord. You'll see me. You'll get to watch us do the green room live. Sometimes I'm there. I'm there most days. Brett's sometimes there. Sometimes Tate appears there.
It's true.
But if you like what the company is doing and you want to support what we're doing here, you guys should go and join $10 a month. After 3 months, you get to call in during the post show. It's a great way to get connected here. But you guys can follow me personally at Olivia Dasovic on Instagram and on X.
All right. One more here from Shane H. Wilder says, new meme short calling out Olivia's cringe drops tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Memeing is my catharsis. It keeps me from ingesting voile chemicals. I mean, I'm assuming he means volatile.
Vile or volatile.
Volatile, or maybe it's just a new word that nobody's ever heard
He
before.
made it up.
Voila.
Blah, blah, blah.
Voila.
Voila.
And one more, I forget who it was that said normality on IRL. I think it
You're
was,
really just upset you can't remember
I think
that,
it was
aren't you?
Phil, and I was like, I resisted
like,
the urge
brother,
to
if
like
I was-
completely cut him off and be like, by the way, dude, I know you were saying something important, but great use
Like,
of
brother,
the
if
word.
I was gay, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg Duvier says, I like Toidles, and the left lane is for crime.
Let's go.
And Penamite says, forget it, you guys are done. Well, yes, we are done.
Forever.
Come back
Today.
tomorrow, 3
Oh,
p.m.
we're back tomorrow. Okay, good.
If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Remember that PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you'd like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcast and on Spotify, which is a great way to help the channel out. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.